ashes, the spirits light up the night, looking down the ocean.
We're live from the Untold Radio Network. It's Untold Radio AM with MonsterQuest producer, host Doug Hajicek, and co-host Jeff Perrella Jr. Untold Radio AM is going live right now.
This show is for entertainment purposes only. Yep, that's the ticket. Now here are your Untold Radio AM hosts, Doug Hajicek and Jeff Perrella Jr.
And here we are.
Hey, how do you always get the first word in? Every time.
Paying attention, I guess.
Oh, geez. Welcome to episode
261.
Yeah, thank you. And hello to all of the loyal Untoldians.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good to see you here.
Yeah. Even Buttworm's in the house.
Great. More buttworm.
I know it's going to be a good show because Buttworm's here.
Yeah. Always makes for the best show.
So we have an incredible show. Trust me on that. You're not going to want to miss this one. You're going to want to turn your lights down, relax, get in a good mood. And how are you, Jeff, on this humid, muggy evening?
Yeah, I'm all right. Been a tough day, but I'm all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I do want to mention kind of a sad day when political people are assassinated.
It's horrible.
Yeah, so definitely prayers go out to the family.
Yeah.
Trying to think what we've got going on tonight. Oh, we've got researchers that go under the radar, Greg Roberts and Mark Horban.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys have never, I know Mark hasn't, ever shared their stories publicly.
They got some great stories. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So that's going on tonight. We're going to kind of delve on animal reactions, and partly because they've had a big reaction. They've experienced this. But I do want to put out a call if there's anybody in the audience live, whether you're in chat or not, if you've had some kind or witnessed an animal reaction, a dog reaction to a Bigfoot encounter, or what you think was a Bigfoot encounter, we're willing to let you come on and join us. And you can tell your story tonight. And Jeff's he's got his email address up. So just contact him during the show at any point, and we'll get you on if you've got a good story.
I suppose I got to bring my email up, hey, so I can see if somebody emails me.
It's there. I see it.
No, I mean get my email up so I can.
Oh, yes. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to see it.
Right.
So we've got that going on. And then, if you've ever had a dog or a cat or even a bird, something freak out a pet, God, we want to hear from you. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're focused on, we'll be talking about other things.
Yep.
But this week, we're going to have lightning fast headline news.
Lightning fast. Lickety split.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lightning. New word of the week, weird facts of the week, and more. So we've got a packed show.
Yeah.
But first, I got to tell this quick story because it kind of highlights just a slice of my life. So I worked all day Sunday. You're not supposed to work Sunday. I had no choice. I worked till about 3 p.m. Finally, I'm like, God, it's beautiful out. I got to get out there. So I grabbed a vet. We hopped in the car. She didn't even know where we were going. I knew where I was going to go, down to Stillwater. Beautiful little river town.
I've been there a long time. It's a cool town.
It's 200 years old, and they've done a lot of work on the river walk. So I wanted to go down there and stroll through the antique shops and the fudge shops and whatever. I mean, it's a cool
good
place.
restaurants and bars there. It's a fun place.
Yeah, there were bands playing, and there were buskers out there playing their guitar. And my plan was to do that and then go have dinner. I had a kind of a place in mind I wanted to eat. So we go there, we do all that, and then we go up to dinner. And we're going to go up to the 4th floor of this. I'm not going to mention the name of the hotel, but it is, I have stayed there. It is for sure haunted, right? That's a whole nother story. So we get in the elevator. We're going up to the 4th floor, and a woman kind of dives in, and she's got her little, you can tell she's got her business attire on and her luggage, and she's probably going to go into a conference, staying overnight alone. And we break a conversation in about, have you ever stayed here? No, it's my first time, and blah, 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 and how they had remodeled it. And right before she steps out, the elevator door opens at floor 3. She steps out, and right before she couldn't even react, really, I go, by the way, this hotel's really haunted. And then the door's shut. She had that look on her face, and Yvette's like slugging me, going, you're mean. She's not going to get a wink of sleep. So anyhow, yeah, there it is. The picture. That's exactly what the look on her face was like. So that was mean, wasn't it?
Yeah, but funny.
It's what I call streaky, a little mischievous. Right?
Yeah.
All right, what do we got? Let's go ahead and run a spot because we're creeping up on October.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how quick time is going.
It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable.
On the New York Bigfoot Conference spot.
Yep, here we go.
Bigfoot's real.
Oh, yes, they say.
They came with their stories, they came with their proof. From the Appalachian hollers to the cabin's roof. The New York Bigfoot Conference just offers more convincing proof. Sasquatch believers, the skeptics too, under one big arena with a curious crew. Vendor booths and chili fries, cryptid shirts in every size. Bigfoot's real, oh yes, they say. Spotted him just the other day.
I can't believe what I just saw. It looked like a Sasquatch.
Shadows play. Bigfoot's real. Camera says he heard the howl by a creek so quiet near an old church tower. A woman saw footprints as big as a plate. She said, I froze in the woods, I couldn't escape. Celebrity speakers, cameras flash, selling Bigfoot mugs for your morning stash. Bigfoot's real.
The evidence is mounting year after year.
Spotted him just the other day. In the hills, in the trees, where the shadows play. Bigfoot's real. Don't look away.
Come to the New York Bigfoot Conference and believe.
That's a great spot. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. My finger got a little twitchy there.
Yeah, it always does. That's okay. I'm used to it.
Trying to keep things moving.
I'm used to it. All right, let's get into some news.
All right. Are you ready? Are you done talking?
Yes, I'm done. Hit it.
Untold Radio news that can be a bit weird is right now.
All right. A 72-year-old man was critically injured by a rare black bear attack.
Very rare.
And what's even weirder is that this bear was only 70 pounds that attacked him.
Little bear. Wow.
Yeah, that's really rare. So he was hospitalized on Friday, September 5th, being mauled in rural northwest Arkansas State wildlife officials said the mauling took place 36 hours earlier in Franklin County and marked the first known black bear attack in the state
That's
in a
crazy.
quarter century. So it's been a while.
Something must have been wrong with
Apparently,
that bear.
yeah,
That's terrible.
he said it was a horrific encounter. Occurred as the senior gentleman rode a tractor near Mulberry Mountain along State Highway 23, also known as the Pig Trail Scenic Byway. Apparently, the agency responded to the scene. Apparently, the black bear walked up a hill during a vehicle-free Wednesday at Cades Cove at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and got this guy. And
Wow,
it's
that's
just,
crazy.
it's crazy because
That's bizarre.
70 pounds is not a very big bear.
No.
So apparently he took a lot of damage from this bear, severe cuts, puncture wounds to his head, his arms.
It's terrible.
And the victim had been working on his tractor on a gravel road. So there you go. You never know, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's bizarre. I wouldn't be very afraid of a black bear, but
No.
that's amazing.
Not 70 pounds.
No.
I mean, that's barely a yearling.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Whatever.
Sad.
And next up, fishermen are stunned after reeling in a shark with a never before seen mutations. Apparently, it was an orange shark.
Weird.
And that is a little odd, although it's a little brownish. It's still very orange. So it says here, the fisherman was stunned after reeling in a shark with never before seen mutations. He said, we saw an orange glow below the water. He said the movie Jaws may not have been scary if you could have seen the shark coming. So this was a really bright orange. And it's apparently a nurse shark. You know, they've got white eyes.
Mhm.
And no visible irises per the Times that first reported it. And apparently it says in marine biodiversity this year, the orange and yellow skin indicates that it has two conditions called anthism,
Xanthism?
and say it again,
Xanthism, I would say. Would
xanthism.
that be pronounced xanthism?
Yeah,
don't know.
there you go. Good job, Jeff. You're my go-to pronunciation guy.
I try.
Apparently, it says due to skin pigmentation and albino xanchromism, characterized by its white eyes.
Albinoxanthromism,
Yeah, whatever that is.
whatever that is.
So it's the first documented case in the Caribbean.
Weird.
So there you go. That's an orange nurse shark. Hopefully they let it go.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
And then a massive alligator was bagged in Mississippi and
Look at
apparently fell just short of the record. Now, this gator was 14 foot,
That's a tank, man. Holy smokes.
and I know they get up to past 20.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine a past 20-foot
That is
gator.
a big gator.
And says this group was hoping to fill a tag acquired by a man named Jimmy A. Had spotted the 12-foot gator before the noon start of the season, but a different alligator making what Appleton described as with a guttural growl turned out to be a significantly larger dude.
That
So
is a
there you go.
tank.
Yeah. It's a dinosaur.
Probably good eating, though. You ever eaten alligator? I love alligator.
Yeah,
It's
I
delicious.
have, but no, I don't like it.
Oh, really? I do. I like it a lot.
Kind of rubbery.
Yeah, none of it's done right, but
Well,
it's kind of similar to turtle and frog legs, which I like all three of those.
I've eaten frog legs and I've
Yeah.
eaten turtle, once again, not like, oh, gee, I can't wait to have turtle or frog legs, but they used to have the anchor in, remember, all you can eat frog legs.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
I got,
I'm not as big a fan of turtle and frog legs, but I really do like alligator tail. It's
but
good.
I would get dragged by family buffet. And I was like, okay, whatever, when in Rome.
Yeah, I guess.
And speaking of reptilians, we have a pterosaur that was killed in a violent storm, and apparently they solved how it was killed 150 million years later, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
These are little bones, they're not very big. But apparently the 150-year-old fossils belong to a pair of pterosaur hatchlings, both of whom appear to have perished in a spectacularly violent weather storm. So there you go. And I was like, is that important to know? I guess. I don't know.
Who knows?
It's kind of cool, I guess. And then first hard proof of bear gladiator fights in Rome have surfaced. They used to always in the movies, they would show them fighting lions and tigers and bears once in a while.
Oh my.
But there was never any proof of it, which is terribly barbaric, but that's what people did for entertainment, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It says the archaeologist analyzed a battered brown bear skull by a 3rd century amphitheater in Serbia. It was apparently had cage-chewed teeth, a healed head wound, and the works. So there you go. So it confirmed that the Eurocene was in the combat arena.
Interesting.
There you go. Now we know that. And then a giant whale carcass made headlines, I believe in Ireland. It 57-foot female fin whale washed up on the West Cork with shark bite marks. And it says people were warned to stay back because, you know why? Do you know why they were warned to stay back?
It doesn't blow up?
Yeah, they blow up. They explode. Which
gas
it's
is filled up and got to be pretty foul.
Yeah, I saw a video of it once and I went, oh my God, what a mess.
Not only is it exploding whale, it's rotten exploding whale. It's exploding because it's rotten. Ugh.
It's horrible.
Yuck.
But I would imagine that scientists do get some data on what killed the whale and measurements and, so there's something that's gained from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then now let's do this really quick news. And we may go to this format.
Okay.
We'll see for the future. Let's see how it goes.
It's time for weird and fast news. Yeah! It's time for weird and fast news.
All right, first up, apparently ground squirrels have taken over a North Dakota town. Residents of a small North Dakota city are grappling with an unexpected invasion by ground squirrels. Now, what in the hell is a ground squirrel compared to a tree squirrel? Jeff, do you know?
Do they burrow maybe? I don't know.
I don't. I guess I don't really know.
Maybe they must burrow. I would think. I guess I don't know what else the distinction would be. I don't know.
Apparently, these critters have become so numerous in this town they've earned the town's serious scrutiny and frustration. I would imagine it looks exactly like that illustration.
Precisely like that.
Precisely.
Photographic realism.
Yeah.
I actually like that image. It's cool.
Yeah. The next photo 9. Apparently a whale surfaced, speaking of whales, and capsized a fishing boat. Not fun. It says a routine day on the water turned into chaos when a whale surfaced right next to the fishing vessel and capsized it. Thankfully, no serious injuries were reported, but it's safe to say the boaters won't forget that splashy encounter.
Yep. And
then apparently in Switzerland, a man got a speeding fine of $110,000. And the guy wasn't mad. He said he could afford it. And what makes the story, like I said, even stranger is that he's like, yeah, it's no problem. I'll pay it.
I can pay the fine. Why not?
Yeah.
And again, that's photographic realism. It looked exactly like that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the cop was there with the checkered flag. And then more photorealism. 3 elves pedal from Germany to Finland. This is a true thing going on.
3 actual elves.
Yes, actual ones. In a heartwarming rush of holiday spirits, a little early, 3 individuals dressed as elves embarked on a cycling journey from Germany town named St. Nicholas and headed to Finland's Santa Claus village. It says here it's a charming reminder that festive cheer knows no bounds.
Guess so.
So enough of that crap. That's what I say. So there you go.
All right.
Well, we're not totally out of the woods on news stuff, but let's do the weird fact of the week.
Here we go.
It's now time for Untold Radio Weird Fact of the Week. That is kind of weird.
All right.
Kind of get into that tune. I like that.
Yeah. It's a little kind of like hip hop.
I like it.
Banana plants are technically an herb, not a tree. So when you eat a banana, you're eating an herb. Even though they grow tall with trunks and leaves like a tree, banana trees don't produce true woody tissue. Instead, what looks like a trunk is really just tightly packed leaf stalks. So
I did not know that.
So in botanical terms, the banana plant forms a pseudostem called a corm. C-O-R-M, corm. What in the world, is my phone off? See,
shame on you.
Yeah, I have to put money in the jar, right? Okay.
I won't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. It's a secret.
I won't. But I'll put the 25 cents in the jar. Plus, it was a scam call, which is hilarious.
Of course, it's all I ever get. It seems like.
Oh man, they come in like crazy. Yeah, wait till you get to my age. They really come in.
No.
So apparently, the corm is this pseudostem, and the banana belongs to the same family as lilies and orchids, which means that your morning banana comes from the world's largest herb. And odder yet, bananas are a distant cousin to ginger.
Oh, I love ginger.
So now next time you're eating your banana, you're eating a ginger cousin.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I love bananas. They're good for you.
Very good. Don't eat too many, though.
Yeah?
No, you don't want to eat too many.
I don't.
Let's do new word of the week.
Oh, I haven't done this for a while. Fun. Here we go.
It's time for Untold Radio's new word of the week, a word you can use that is designed to help you cope with modern times. The word of the week is snack-a-lanche, the avalanche of snacks falling when you open the cupboard.
It's an important public service message.
That
That's a
is.
good one. I like that one.
It is. Tax deductible.
Yeah, it happens. Happened to me.
It happens all the time to me.
Yep.
Yvette went shopping tonight, and so next time I go to the cupboard, it'll be a
Snack-a-lanche.
avalanche. Some houses have really small pantries.
Yeah, I do.
Cupboards. That's the case in my home.
Yeah, I got stuff just stacked on there. Yeah,
You have to stack like the chips on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You have to build a tower. And then when you open the thing, they topple over. Anyhow, let's get into our clips.
Clip time.
All right. Well, the first one was sent to me by John Ayers. It didn't originate with John Ayers, but he saw it, thought I might be interested, which of course I am.
Yeah, me too.
And
cool.
it's a really cool, some photos. There's two of them. It's a sequential, so it's almost video, right? You can play them back to back. This is the first photos of a whale eating. It's a sperm whale eating a giant squid.
That's cool. I actually saw that on something. That's really a cool picture.
Oh, it is cool. So thank you, John, for that. And obviously I'm interested with that. I was emailing with History Channel just today about the giant squid that we got. So next is a real clip. Sound is good.
Actually, no. We're missing.
Oh,
that's
come through.
Right. I missed two, and I missed Two didn't come through, and another one I forget.
That's fine.
We'll get to it. But we got clip. I have clip 3 ready to go here.
All right. So, have you ever heard of the spotted phenolica?
Phenolica.
I have no idea. There you go. This is a beautiful animal from Madagascar. It's a family member of the weasel. And look at that. In real life. Animal. It is cool, isn't it? And Madagascar, of course, is off the coast of Africa.
Yeah, got some really unique wildlife there.
Yeah.
Kind of isolated.
I think there's a Disney cartoon, isn't there, about Madagascar?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember it, but I've seen it. It was kind of cute.
I think you are correct.
All right, clip 4. I guarantee you have never seen a bridge so freaky, ever. This is...
Chega a dar frio na barriga, né? Olha aí, você vê. Teria coragem de passar aí ou não? Perigo deve ter não, né? Senão eu não passava, né? Ah, eu passava. Passava aí dentro de caminhão.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's... no thanks.
I think those boards are tied together with rope.
Probably.
All right. Hopefully you have clip 5.
I do.
And if you need rocks, here's one way to get them. Don't ever try this. This is absolutely insane. I don't even know how he put him on his back, but go ahead and watch.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You gotta be kidding me.
You think you have a tough day. There you go, Joe.
That's crazy.
That's enough.
I suppose so. There's a will, there's a way, huh? That's nuts.
Oh my God. And clip 6 has been on the news. Hopefully you got this one.
I do.
I was surprised to see it on the front page of Yahoo today. This is kind of mind-shattering, legit. It is. He's going to be, just hang on a second, but he's going to be talking about a UFO that was either shot down by an MQ-9 drone using a Hellfire missile, and it was being filmed by an MQ-9 drone, or the Hellfire missile bounces off the UFO. So either the bounced off Hellfire is the UFO or whatever. I can't quite interpret it.
Yeah, it's a little hard to read.
But this is real footage. Go ahead and play it.
I want to cue up a video that I've been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe. This was taken October 30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. That you cannot see that drone, and so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does.
Here we go. Got to be patient. There it is. It looked like it just ricocheted off the thing.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But you can investigate more of yourself. Apparently, it's on the front page news today.
Yeah, it's been all over social media.
Yeah, well, I downloaded that clip like days ago, so glad it made it on there. It's fascinating. And, you know, I don't know what year this was taken, but I would imagine they've been shooting these things, shooting at them for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, you can only imagine.
Yeah, we're seeing a small fraction of what's happened, I'm sure.
Yeah, so the question is, so leave us a comment. Do you think the UFO went down, or did the UAP dodge it, or was it hit? I don't know.
Yeah, crazy.
Somebody should know. All right, then clip 7, sound is good. This is fascinating because I don't know why this took so long to discover. But if you rotate a magnet, it will do other weird things to another magnet. It'll levitate. I'll go ahead and play this. And
you can't have a stable equilibrium with static magnetic field. But an interesting thing happens when you take a magnet on its end and spin it really fast, around 10,000 RPM. A second magnet will actually be attracted to it, but then as it gets closer, it's repelled. So the result is a magnetic trap that levitates it in the air. It can capture it and hold on to the magnets, creating a magnetic potential well. Notice this attraction when it's further away, but then as I try to push it closer, there's a resistance here. It goes to higher than the weight of the ball. So the south pole of this magnet is jutting out a little bit more. Once it's attached, in order to stay attracted to the floating magnet, it has to be able to vibrate. If you stop it from vibrating, it gets ejected. So if the driving magnet were not spinning, the floating magnet would just orient itself parallel to the magnetic field and get sucked in. But if you rotate the magnet fast enough, by the time it starts to move to where it was going, you've already swapped the poles. So it begins to chase the wrong pole. So it follows the field by a 180-degree phase shift called phase lag, resulting in an anti-parallel alignment. This isn't possible if the field were static. This effect can be seen by anyone if you have a Dremel or a drill that spins fast and some magnets that you can attach to it like I did in a previous video here. But be careful, since these are moving at high RPMs, if you don't get it right, the magnets can fly off at high speed. Whoa. So this is a really neat phenomenon that needs to be explored more. It could have some important roles to play in the description of atoms and subatomic particles, since they all have magnetic moments as well. What's crazy about this is this phenomenon isn't found in textbooks anywhere because it's so new and it's not widely known.
That's crazy.
How can that be new?
How on earth has no one figured that out before? That's crazy.
I'm surprised. I've never tried it.
Me too. That's exactly the kind of thing that I would have done too, and I just never did.
Magnets are very, very fascinating.
Yeah, fun to play with.
Do you have clip 8?
Yep. The only one I didn't get is 10. So I have 8, 9, and 11.
Thanks for not keeping me guessing. clip 8 sounds good. If you could imagine having polar bears running around your neighborhood at night,
good.
They have to have these patrols out. Armed men, they have packs of dogs to chase them out of town. But go ahead and play this. It's kind of fascinating. Keep in mind, this is the biggest predator on the planet.
Yikes. Polar bears are one of the very few animals that see humans as food. So if they're after you, you have to kill it or find another way to escape, because they will not stop. They're very dangerous.
And then clip 9. Do you know where the biggest kaleidoscope in the world is, Jeff?
Nope, but we're going to find out, I bet.
We are. And it is about to open up to the public in Las Vegas, of all places. It's called the Infinity Museum. Let's watch.
Here's a sneak peek of an attraction about to open in Las Vegas. This is the world's largest kaleidoscope, and it, along with 6 other attractions that are unlike anything you've ever seen before, are part of Infinity Museum. Get ready to pause to read all the details. Tickets start around $26 for an adult, and this is easily the coolest immersive attraction I've ever been to. With the VIP package, you get these glasses, and when you put them on, it turns the light fields into little glittering hearts. Each room is different and unique, with plenty of space to play. And with the light fields and colors constantly shifting, the photo opportunities are endless. Usually I get in and out of an immersive attraction in about 20 minutes because I've seen so many of them. The time really got away from us here, and when we were done, my children wanted to go through it again. This is located in the Boulevard Mall, about 1.5 miles from all of the major resorts. It is a really special experience and one that you should go out of your way to check out if you can. I'll put more details in the comments. Follow me for all.
That's cool.
Do you remember those kaleidoscopes we'd always get when we were kids?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
old enough to remember those.
Oh, yeah. I had one.
You'd hold them up to the window and spin them and get bored in about 2 seconds. Right? You remember those?
I sure do.
And then you'd lose it. And then for some reason, someone would give you another one a year later. I don't get it. Yeah. I don't know
where toys.
Where did all my kaleidoscopes go?
Yeah, I had more than a few.
And then I think we have a bonus clip.
I've got 11 and 12.
Yeah, okay. This is a, now we're going to get to our guests, but this is a clip of a daytime orb, but there's been so many recorded lately. Like, I mean, I'm getting bombarded with them. Go ahead. And of course, there's the skeptics saying they're helium balloons, and of course, they could be. However, it's unlikely helium balloons can just suddenly dart off like that. Right?
Yeah. They don't move like that.
I've seen these. I've seen orbs in the daytime twice, and that's exactly what they do. They can move really quick, and they're really weird. Then clip 12 is a fitting clip because it's about, the sound is good. It's about a dog's reaction to a possible Bigfoot. So the question is that fake? You can see how big and tall it is.
Yeah.
So if it's real footage and not AI, but I saw this footage, I think 2-3 years ago, kind of before AI was prevalent. And it is a lockdown camera. It looks legit. I don't know if the Bigfoot looks legit, but, I tried to look at it. It's not too many red flags.
Yeah.
But look at the height of it.
Yeah, it sure looks massive.
It doesn't move natural, though. So that's my red flag. It's the one red flag. All right, it's enough. So there you go. And that is a fitting segue to our guests.
Yeah.
So we got two of them. I believe they're both in the back room.
Yep.
So let me introduce Greg Roberts first. Since 2008, Greg has been a dedicated Bigfoot researcher and investigator. He has had dozens of direct encounters. Hopefully we'll hear about some of that stuff. He has also worked in affiliation with the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization and has also been a resource for the North American Bigfoot Center located outside Portland. I believe he's talking about Cliffs Museum in Boring, Oregon. I believe. Not sure. His years of research and investigation has led to several findings that he was the first to call attention to. And then Mark Horban. Mark was born in Bellflower, California. His family then moved to Southern Oregon when he was about 6 years old. He grew up riding motorcycles, dirt bikes, and doing other activities in the woods. And near his town and beyond. He said he became very familiar with the outdoors. He had heard stories growing up, but always discounted them until his own personal encounter in 1985, shortly after graduating high school. He then became interested in the subject. God, imagine that, Jeff.
Crazy.
Yeah, imagine. Says that experience left an impression on him that sparked a lasting interest in Bigfoot. So with that, let's welcome Greg Roberts and Mark Horban.
Yep, just a second. All right, and welcome Mark and welcome Greg. Good to see you guys.
Hello. Good to see you guys too. Hey, Mark.
Hello. Hey, Greg. Yeah, I'm the only one wearing the headphones here. Had to get that going, It's okay.
Oh, Doug, your mic is muted.
Oh,
there we go.
Doug, there we go.
Greg.
See, I got to put another quarter in the jar, right, Jeff?
Don't tell anybody.
No. Anyhow, welcome, guys. I'm glad to find you'll have you on, Greg. And I met Mark yesterday. We had quite a good conversation. But let's go ahead and
he decided to join us too.
There's the real star of this. That was Appa. We got to briefly see.
Oh, yeah, there's Appa.
He's hiding back there. He decided to come in.
I love that animal. He is truly an amazing animal.
Can you call Appa over so we get a look at Appa?
I could try, but he doesn't really. Hey, come here. Come here, lazy. That's about how much he listens to me on man.
Well, Appa is 75% Timberwolf, correct?
Yeah, and he's got a little bit of Malamute and Shepherd.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
That's
dog.
what the DNA papers that I've got with him.
And he's obviously well trained.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well trained to do what he wants to do.
Yes.
Unless you have beef jerky or pepperoni, then he'll kind of do some stuff.
Yeah, I owned a husky and a wolf hybrid that I absolutely loved and had for many, many years. He was an amazing dog. The only dog I've ever owned that actually tried to talk. He would try to, lip words, but he would never bark. He just growled. God forbid if any stranger ever asked him to shake hands or do anything, he would literally attack people.
Oh, wow.
But so I kind of know what you're dealing with. They're very independent because of the wolf.
And it's taken me a while. I mean, I've had him since he's 4 months old, and the trick is just getting him out and socializing him because they have that leeriness of everything, and it turns into a fear, and the fear turns into aggression, and he didn't bark too when he was younger, and he learned to bark from my older dog, which thanks, So now when there's a mailman or something, he'll boo, he'll kind of let out a bark or so, but it's not like her. She's a barking machine. So,
well, she's very beautiful, and we're going to talk about an experience that Greg and you had with Appa. Should we just start right there?
Yeah.
Greg, you want to start?
Yeah, because I was the reason the whole thing happened. And, having been actively involved investigating and researching since 2008, one thing I have uncovered is there is a lot of evidence out there of a relationship between Bigfoot and coyotes. But what we had far less of was what's going on where Bigfoot and wolves overlap. And I kept looking, and even out of Minnesota, where I have heard recordings of Bigfoot's vocalizing and wolves howling. In fact, one of the episodes of Finding Bigfoot, they aired some of the clips that the guys in Minnesota, Bigfoot, Abe, and the rest of the guys' recordings they've been able to get. But I couldn't find anywhere where they had tried to go out and try and learn more about what that relationship might be between wolves and Bigfoot. So fast forward to this year, this past spring, and I meet Mark and Appa. Mark had been following me on Southern Oregon Bigfoot Seeker for quite a while. He also followed the other page, The Hat shows you, rogueweather.com. And he approaches me through a message and says, "Hey, I know you're doing a talk about wolves and Bigfoot. I've got a wolf. I'll bring you my wolf." And I'm like, okay. Only 2 times in my life have I ever heard people make that claim. And then when they showed me the animal they actually had, okay, there was some legitimacy to the wolf claim. One had a 100% pure Arctic wolf, a female. And he picked her up as a puppy out on the tundra when he was working the North Slope as an oil field worker. Had no idea what he had got. Ironically, that video you showed of the polar bear and the dogs and the guy with the slug gun ready just in case. Well, my friend brings this wolf pup, not knowing it's a wolf pup, back to the camp he was working at. He sets her up in his place. A week later, Alaska Fish and Game comes to make sure they're compliant at the camp to be not causing polar bears to want to come in. And he says to the biologist, "Oh, hey, you've got to see what I picked up out on the tundra. I found this puppy wandering around out there." And the biologist is like, "Really? Show me." And as soon as he saw it, he goes, "That's an Arctic wolf pup." And my buddy Todd had no idea what he actually had on his hands. Well, the biologist sat there and talked to him a little bit about what was going on, but he observed Shasta with Todd, and then he told him, he goes, "Now I've got bad news for you. That animal is very heavily imprinted on you. We can never return her to the wild." So when Todd tells me I've got a wolf, well, I go over to his house. He's the one person in my life I've met so far that truly had a wolf. She was a 100%er, no doubt about it. So when Mark's telling me I got a wolf, okay, I want to see it. So he shows up at the Sportsman Show here in Medford, where I'm doing a talk on Bigfoot and wolves. And the second he got Appa in front of me, I went, "Oh, wow." The only way I knew Appa was not truly a wolf, the legs were too short, and he's got doggy ears. And if Mark kind of slides over and we get his ears up again,
a little long,
the different shape in the ears, that was it. He's 165 pounds body weight. He has the mass of a wolf. He has the look of a wolf. If somebody told me they saw a wolf in the woods and it was Appa and they described this, I would absolutely believe them, because, like I said, except for shorter legs and doggy ears, that's a wolf.
Yeah, and I had when I took him to that show with Greg there, I didn't realize they had the Wolves of Yellowstone show going on there, which was the wolves that they use in the series. So when I walked in the door with him, it was, oh my gosh, I didn't, it took me a long time to get to his booth, because I kept getting stopped and, "Are you Wolves of Yellowstone?" And no. So I ended up actually taking him and seeing them, and which actually surprised me, because they were, they're hybrids too, but they're lot, half the size. The biggest
how much does Appa weigh?
165.
That's huge.
Yeah. And that's actually me kind of like when I take him to the vet, and that was another thing, is fun finding a vet, that actually will take him. And I've got a great vet that just is really good with him. But, the scale is only so big, and he steps off of the side. So I'm kind of having to hold him up, hold him on that so he doesn't keep stepping off. So it's going, the thing's going 181, and then it goes down 165, and, and I'm letting him go, and it goes up, and they're like, "Well, he's 165. And then, because I get drugs for like 4th of July and stuff, because as soon as something like that goes off, fireworks, he's in the closet, he'll bust through the door of the bedroom here.
Jeez.
Dive in the closet and hide. And every time I give him those drugs, I have to give him more. I actually have to dose him a little higher. So,
see, Mark, your mic is working so well. Can you move it, like twist it down?
Oh, yeah.
A little farther from your mouth.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's
how about that?
Usually we have the opposite problem. It's awesome.
Yeah, usually with me,
just try to move it. Or Jeff, maybe you can turn the gain down.
Turn down a little bit. Yep,
yeah, Jeff will turn your gain down a little bit.
That figures. We spent
there we go. We just kind of want everybody at the same level.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you guys you take Appa and you go out in the woods. What was your goal, Greg? Why did you want to bring an animal like a wolf out in the woods?
Yeah, I got to know Appa more over time. I had more time to be with him, socialize with him, get to read him. And I got to thinking about, okay, what if I can get him into an area that I know Bigfoot is going to be, and we may potentially run into wild wolves? I want to see how much his natural instincts kick in. Because again, he's 78% northern timber wolf, the true wolf to this area, which means in ancestry, they've been encountering Bigfoot. So it's got to be hardwired in there somewhere, I'm thinking. So we get together on the night of August 22nd, and I'm in the lead in my car, and we've got Mark and Chris, his brother, along with Appa. They're following along behind me, and we're heading up to this area that sits right on the edge of the wilderness area that I had my first encounter in 1984. This area at this time of the year, the Bigfoot family group I have been following since 2011 is in there because of the presence of berries. There's also springs in there, north-facing slopes with timber. They have all the things that they like there. Okay. So we're driving up the road. They're behind me. I come around this bend in the road, and then my bright lights are lighting up the road up in front of me, and there's a straight stretch, and all of a sudden there's a shadow on the left-hand side of the road where there shouldn't be a shadow. And I'm looking at that, and I'm going, what? And all of a sudden the shadow moves, and I've got two big yellow eyes staring back at me from probably about 9 feet off the ground. And then all of a sudden that shape, that shadow kind of whoop and went down off the left-hand side of the road. I slam on the brakes, and I'm like, did I really just see that? Was that imagination? Do I have too much Bigfoot on the brain? I'd never had a road cross sighting, or I'd never had a sighting of one at the side of the road before. Never. So when it happens the first time, even though I've had a lot of experience with them, I'm kind of questioning, and I'm still, man, I don't know. Wow, that just was there and it was gone. So I drive up the road, we get up a little bit, and there's a wide spot area. We get out, and I immediately run over to Mark, and I go, oh my gosh, when I hit the brakes, here's what I saw. In the van, Appa wants out. And Chris is telling us, hey, Appa wants out. Mark says, no, make sure he's on the lead. He comes boiling out of that van around the vehicles, and he immediately goes on point, and he's staring into the woods in the direction where that thing was headed.
And
wow.
And
yeah, I mean, he's on point. If you know what bird dogs look like when they're on point, ready to flush something, that's pretty much the same posture he had, and he's staring intently down in those trees. What he's seeing, I don't know. What he's hearing, don't know. But he was locked in on something. He knew something was down there, and I was kind of blown away and going, whoa, well then, Mark, tell me what happened in the van.
So just before Greg had stopped, we had the windows rolled down, and this was a long drive. It's a long ways out there. I mean, there was some open range way before that, and Appa's running back and forth, and he wants to see what's out. He's excited because anytime I take him for a ride, he gets excited. But right before that, he had gotten on alert inside our van. And I thought it was kind of strange because he kept pushing his head out my brother's side. And then he'd come over to my side, push his head out. And then just right after that, Greg had stopped. And, and I'm like, what is he looking at? So I'm trying to look, and I don't see anything. Well, so then we continued on. And about maybe 2 turns after that, I thought I seen eye shine. I didn't see any mass. I just thought I seen something in the tree. Maybe really hard to tell where that was. I was trying to focus on it as we were going by. Are you
talking about like a dark shadow?
No, actually just eyes. I didn't see.
Oh.
Well, because there was a dark shadow in that area, but it was probably the tree. Because we had turned just the way the road was, it had turned enough to where it couldn't see that tree anymore. It was still a dark shape there, But I thought I seen something, and I didn't give it much thought actually until we had stopped that first place. And then Greg says he goes, I've seen a mass and I seen eye shine. So, well, that's funny because a turn or two later, before we did the turn, just before it, I seen something on the same side of the road. And then that's, we let Appa out, and he's kind of on high alert, looking down the road, right, back where we were. So, so from that point, we get back in and we head back up to Greg's point, which was probably another mile or two, Greg?
Yeah. From where we stopped and had our talk, it is about a mile and a half. It's just under a mile and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had got up there, turned around, and it's just basically the road cut in. You could tell it's an old fire road,
Yeah.
And we had turned around. I had parked my van on the ridge, next to the ridge on the upper part of it. And Greg was we're middle. So we set up all our stuff. And actually I took Op out and he was fine, just peeing on stuff. Actually, I watched my brother take him down the road with him. I had a thermal imager that I had borrowed, and I watched him pee and then do his little circle, and he looks for a place to poop. And apparently that's what a lot of wolves do, that they're marking. And that's what he does. It's like, it takes me an hour at night to take him outside just to poop, because he'll go around 20 times and then poop right in the same spot that he kept looking at. So he did that. Everything's fine. We get our stuff out. I actually have a big bed for him from Costco that I put down on a tarp right smack in front of us. And so, my brother took him down, did that. He was fine. And then we're just sitting there, and it's very quiet. It was absolutely no sounds up there, no wind, nothing. And so my brother says, well, I'm going to take him down the road again. So he takes him down the road, and he's probably maybe 20 yards down there, Greg, maybe, if that.
Maybe 20 to 40, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not too far, because I know my brother can't see anything. But I'm looking through the thermal, and I see Appa just kind of stop and do the same thing he did before. And he's looking down the road to the right, and he's just focused. And I found out afterwards, when my brother came back, that he had heard what he thought was walking and like a grunt. Kind of, that's what he said. He goes, it was just like somebody just going, And at the same time he's sitting here, he's looking this way down the road. His focus starts turning like this. Then all of a sudden he stops and whips it to looking at the ridge right above, right coming up the other side. So, if you imagine we're looking down this road, we're parked right here looking down, and this is the side going down. This is the side coming up. Well, whatever got his attention split it, and he was now going like this, and then he's starting to back up and want to come back. So my brother, I see him take him back, and I'm kind of looking, and we get him back to the spot, and he won't lay in his bed. Now he's just focused on the side down this side. He can't look at this side too much, because now my van is parked right here. And and I'm trying to focus through this thermal imager. And I don't know if you've ever seen one of those Axioms. I borrowed it from a friend of mine. Anyways, it's a monocular, so it kind of burns your retina away. You take that thing off and you can't see. And then another problem is you can't hit record anywhere on it. You have to do it through an app on your phone. So I'm trying to play around with that. And I actually got a little bit of recording of Appa doing when he did come back. My brother did take him back a little bit, and he did what they call a Fleming response, I think it is, where they do this grin, and he'll grin his mouth up, and they're trying to get it. They're picking up a scent that they can't figure out. So they're really trying to open their mouths up, and then they get this snarl grin. And I actually got a good video on a thermal I was trying to get to you guys before that of him doing that. But at the time he's doing that, I'm looking off to the right with the thermal, and I see something I just see a white mass from behind a tree move.
How far away? How far away, Mark?
Probably about 20 yards, I'm guessing. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, it was so hard to tell.
At that point where he saw that, and being as familiar as I am with that area, that's roughly 40, 45 yards where he's talking about where he looked and saw it.
Yeah, it was real hard to judge too at night, and I'll kind of get to that point later.
Well, I just want to recap for anybody just joining. Greg and Mark took a 165-pound wolf hybrid as basically a sensing instrument. In an area that's known for Bigfoot activity, and where they have now both seen something that night.
Yeah. And
okay,
Greg
continue.
Yeah, Greg heard. I actually thought I heard. I could say for certain that I was here because I was so focused on trying to get this stupid thermal imager working, you know. And he was looking through a cheaper night vision, right? Kind of. And he says he sees the thing right, same spot where I've seen it, you know. So now I'm like, okay, but really, other than this little bit, we were on without Appa doing the high alert, we would have never probably even looked, because there was nothing to indicate there was anything going on other than him.
The last thing he's talking about right there.
Yeah.
There's trees down off the road to the right. I definitely could hear something trying to be quiet, but walking up through those trees, because there was that unmistakable biped heavy crunch. And I look at Mark and I go, do you hear that? We're being approached. So then I get that night vision that I borrowed from my brother-in-law, thank goodness. And I'm looking down through that, and I'm looking through the trees, and all of a sudden I've got two eyeballs looking right at me. And I went, whoa. And then I look, and Appa's on high alert, looking exactly where I'm looking at. So I know he's seen it. I know he saw that one for sure. I could tell just by the way he was reacting.
Oh, yeah.
One of the coolest parts about this whole thing for me was he never barked once. He never growled once. He never reacted like a dog. He reacted like I believe the wolves are going to react, and I was loving it, because what I wanted to achieve, we were nailing. I mean, he just kept focused, laser focused, like I watch wolves do when they're watching other wolves, when they watch coyotes, or when they start sizing up things they think they're going to go after.
I might add, Greg, this is a very creative experiment. It's very creative on your guys' part. Really creative. So I do want to say that.
Thank you.
Because I have a coyote. I actually have two stories of wolves and Bigfoot. Or wolf, and then one of them is a wolf and coyote. I'm going to tell later before we, wrap the show. But keep going.
I gotta say something too about before this whole thing. When Greg, I got to rewind a little bit. When Greg did tell me about this idea of his, he does a lot with the wolf tracking of ODFW and stuff, and I know he knows that there's wolf packs in that area. And I'm thinking this whole time before this, and even then, I will admit Greg now, which I think I already have, is I'm thinking my best thing is we're gonna get up there, we're gonna hear some wolf howls if I'm lucky, and I want to see him, maybe get him howling because I've got him howling before, and then maybe we'll get in, and that'd be cool, So I wasn't really even prepared for the whole Bigfoot thing at all. It was really just I was focused on the wolf interaction type deal.
Yeah.
But what that toward the end there, it got a little stressful because I'm seeing him get the anxiety. He's starting to now push back into me. He won't even lay on his bed. Period. No. He's pushing into me, pushing into my brother, and I'm like and I'm getting this dread feeling like, okay, there's something's really close. And Greg's actually sitting more toward this ridge than me. You're probably what, 6 foot away, 7 foot away, maybe?
Yeah, maybe about that.
But you were more on that edge, so you could hear that a little more than me too. But what really alarmed me too was I got up and Appa got up and he had did a 180 on me and just did that, just focus and literally like a hair standing up on the back of his back, and he's looking now directly to the side and back of my van, right on the hill that I'm parked, right up against. So then I'm like, okay, I'm getting we're getting like surrounded. But here's another thing is literally just before that too, when he had looked down the road, I had walked out toward the front of my van, and we're talking, this is pitch black, so it's very hard to see anything. So I got that thermal out and I'm looking up that side ridge and I see this amorphous blob, is all I could say, kind of grayish and moving. And at first I thought it's the antenna on my van. So I'm like, okay, I'm this is crazy. I'm just thinking it's the antenna on my van. And then so I reach out and I go, no, the antenna on my van is, okay, it's over here. So yeah, it's not that. There's nothing in front of me. So now I'm looking at this thing and I realized later that I think it was going behind so much foliage that thermal imager was just not picking it up like white hot. It was more of a grayish, but it wasn't like I could tell the outline. And so I scrambled to get my phone going, get the thing recorded, hit the recording, go back up. It's gone now. And it's heading on the ridge back toward the back of my van, if that makes sense, to the side of it. Yeah. And so we lost that. About the time that it starts getting more and more anxiety, watching Appa, he starts to push back into me and Chris. And that's when Greg's watching him too. And Greg's like, he's getting real anxiety. And I've seen enough. We could call this a night. So I said, okay. And I'm feeling bad because I'm like, I haven't been there that long, actually. We were supposed to be there till 4 a.m. and I was prepared for that. And we only been there for few hours, I think, Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to put him in the van and it's going to be, it'll be okay. He'll be in there. And that's where he's used to it. And about right at that time, we decided, okay, got his stuff here. I'm going to open the van and let him in there. And the wind had just kicked up and there was absolutely no wind before that. As soon as that wind kicked up, he went from anxiety to sheer terror. Because when I opened that van doors, he bolted in. He did look through the windows and then he dove down into the passenger side of my van and tried to squeeze himself into the underneath there. And my brother's kind of trying to help me, and his eyes are just wide open and he's flat on the floor, And about that time, I'm like, okay, this is crazy. There's something here. So I actually grabbed my spotlight I had right there, shine it right up behind the van on the side. And I see brush moving. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's not the wind. There's something there. Wow. And it was right there. And that's another time that I realized how thick it was right there. You couldn't see 10, 15 foot behind on that side, behind us at all. Yeah, it was so thick, the woods were, that I just couldn't see anything. And it was steep. I was actually amazed that whatever, was there was moving up through that. And it was enough to, about that same time of him anxiety And that's when the hair on the back of my neck's standing up. And I was not too, I was happy enough to get out of there at that point. It just didn't, it had that feeling of being just surrounded.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
I
was just going to ask. Hang on, Greg. No problem.
Yeah.
There's a delay. Were the berries ripe at this time?
Yeah, there's an explosion of huckleberries.
Huckleberries. How about salmon berries?
There's a lot of huckleberries there. There's mountain blueberries. There's wild strawberries. We've got a little bit of Oregon grape in there. There's elderberries in there. There's a lot of berries. There are also a lot of springs in this area. Yeah. This is one of the spots I had found doing my homework, as I call it, from 2007 to 2011. Prior to the night of August 22nd of this year, mainly what had happened for me there was hearing vocalizations, hearing wood knocks, hearing rock knocks. I had only one time ever seen anything there that indicated the presence of them being there. And I told Mark and Chris, I go, I'm sitting in the exact same spot. I'm sitting here and I look down the road and there's two red eyes looking back at me. And I'm just sitting there in the dark by myself, but I had simulated a phone conversation. And I told Mark, I go, I don't go out and howl and beat on trees. He didn't hear me howl one time. I never beat one tree. You open your doors on your car, you slam the door on your car, and you sit there in the dark. But the main attraction by far was Appa. And I guarantee you, I know why they kept coming in, getting closer and closer. They had never seen a wolf with men before. That they were trying to figure out for themselves, because they're like, what's going on here? This is not normal. We've never seen a wolf with men. That part of it, I didn't necessarily expect that reaction, but thrilled that I got it.
That's profound.
That's obviously we don't know for sure, but it's certainly a very good theory. And so I've got a question. So Appa, is he doing any like whining or making any noise at all during any of this, or is it just quiet?
Just quiet.
Really?
Not a whine, not a bark. And I've had him all kinds of places. I've taken him just about everywhere usually.
Well, does he whine? Like if you were to hold a treat for him, does he do any kind of audio?
He'll whine. Like if sometimes he'll see another dog that he wants to play with or something, and he'll whine, and he'll whine. Sometimes he'll just wants in this bedroom, like just earlier. That's why he's sitting over there, because he was whining, and then he'll scratch, and that's the worst thing.
He doesn't look very big there, but I know this. I saw a picture of him standing, and he's got to be all of over 6 foot tall when he's standing.
My couch, he can lay on the entire couch. So if that makes sense on his length, it's hard because it's ways back there. I can't even reach back there.
All right. So is there any more to this story? How did it end?
Mark, you got to tell what happened the next day with the van when you're trying to clean the van up, because this was almost as telling as anything else.
Okay.
But Mark gets in touch with me next day and goes, hey, I was trying to clean the van up, and Appa's reaction was like, whoa.
Oh, it was actually there's even more to it than that. On the way down from the place, he stayed on the floorboard, probably, and I had a long drive from there to home. I'm trying to think, it's probably 2.5 hours, I think it is at least. And he did not get up to even sniff the window until I was darn near home, until he could start smelling it. And then he's like, okay, we're safe. But he wouldn't get in the van. The next day I had it open, cleaning it. And usually if I leave that doors open, he'll dive in. And then I have to take him around the block, at least just go for a ride around the block. And then it's okay, you can get out, because that's
so you're thinking there's maybe Bigfoot air sent in the van? What's your reason?
No. He would not get back in that van for a week.
Because he was afraid of going back there?
I think he was afraid of going back there.
Oh, okay.
And and in fact, actually, I didn't tell Greg this, but just this weekend they had a car show up at Lake of the Woods, which is kind of close, it's same kind of general area. And probably about the time we got up toward the same area, he had got some anxiety sniffing out the window. And it was kind of a little strange. Like I was wondering if he remembered just the area. And then luckily, though, we got to the car show and he was okay. You know, he started getting around people and then he was fine. But yeah, he definitely, it was, like I said, it was 2 weeks or something.
So he suffered with PTSD.
Or BTSD. Or, likely. Bigfoot traumatic syndrome.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
This is all interesting.
Because, Doug, honestly, I have never seen any videos anywhere showing somebody going out Bigfooting with dogs, except Bobo and Monkey, Rip Monkey. And even then, we only get very edited looks. This was prolonged exposure over a couple hours, watching exactly how a wolf is on point and alert when they're looking at something and hearing something. And I'm seeing Squatch Mama. Maybe Bigfoot was curious to see them walking together. I guarantee you, I mean, as much as I possibly can, but based on what my gut tells me, they were every bit as curious to try and figure out why Appa, a wolf, is with us, as I was trying to figure out what's going on watching Appa's reaction. Because the other thing I will totally agree with Mark with, the majority of what he was reacting to, without him, we may not have known about the presence at different points. We were definitely picking some things up with the thermal, with the night vision. We were hearing movement, but I guarantee you, he was hearing way more movement than we were. He was smelling things we weren't. And by the way, no classic Sasquatch odor. Didn't happen.
No.
At least not to us. He probably picked up on it. But I promise you, he saw them. I know he saw them at multiple points.
Yeah. The only reason why I even bothered to take the thermal imager and look on the upper ridge was because he had kept shifting his focus. And literally, when he first started, he's at an angle like this down the road, and that angle's changing. So this is moving. And then he whips it, and then the same thing. And now he's going like this. And then that's when he's backing up to us. You know, I'm watching him in the road doing this, and that's when I'm like, okay, you know, something's up on the ridge here. And we heard everything that we heard was on the lower. We heard nothing up there. But that's where I seen that amorphous blob moving through foliage, and that's where the bushes that I seen move after when I hit it with a spotlight toward the end there.
Yeah.
And that's where that's the weird part. Like I said, we would have been sitting there and just focused down here, and whatever that was up here could have walked right up and probably tapped us on the back of the neck, which would not have been fun. But
was Appa unleashed during all this?
No. I was afraid that I was afraid of two things. I didn't want him running off. Like I said, before this whole thing started, my premise was wolves. You know, was not premise, but my thought was our best case scenario of anything that was going to happen was going to be wolves, and and I didn't want him running off. So he's on a leash the whole time, and I probably could have left him off the leash, and he would have stayed right there until maybe the end. He was so panicked on that. I think he might have, if he wasn't on the leash, he might have just bolted down the road and took off, you know, because of the real panic on the end there. So
yeah, and I pulled the plug on it because okay, point's been more than proven, but I also was really concerned about the state Appa was getting into. I didn't want to freak him out like that. And I was like, hey, we've hit oil. We can quit drilling. We can call this a night. In hindsight, maybe what I wish I would have done was go ahead and dismiss them and then stay there to see what would wind up happening. But the reality is, I think the reason we were getting that intense close approach, and they were coming in, was because of Appa. If you remove Appa, then it's just me sitting there in the dark, and they're going to be like, oh, it's just Greg, and they're going to take off and go do their thing that they do. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds kind of cold in a way to say I used Appa as bait, because in reality, that's what this came down to.
What is?
I was looking
Greg,
for scientific information that, boy, did I get in abundance.
So, Greg, what is your theory on symbiotic relationships with wolves and Bigfoots, or coyotes and Bigfoots? Do you have a symbiotic relationship scenario that you want to share?
There's so little data evidence. I mean, there's just not enough out there. We have far more about coyotes and Bigfoot. There is definitely a relationship between them. And how it works exactly, I don't know. Is it beneficial to Bigfoot having the coyotes around? Yeah, coyotes are guard dogs. Is it beneficial to coyotes being around Bigfoots? Absolutely, because when and if Bigfoot are going to make kills, when they switch into the predator mode that they're alleged to be in all the time, then clearly the coyotes benefit, because there's a lot of scrap left over for them, because Bigfoots are very particular about what they want to consume from an animal. It's the protein, whether it's the organs, whether it's the eyes, whether it's the brains or the marrow and the bones. They're very particular about what they want, and then they leave the rest of what they don't want. And coyotes especially benefit greatly from it. Ravens will as well, and bears will.
Well, obviously, early man tamed wild wolves. That's how we ended up with the domestic dog. Do you think Bigfoots and like coyotes or wolves actually share a proximity together? Like they sleep next to each other, they touch each other, that kind of a thing? Or do you think that they're just kind of standoffish?
There's a lot of unknown. I would think if that kind of relationship exists between them, it's definitely more likely to be the coyotes with Bigfoots, because watching how Appa's reacting and knowing wolves react like that, especially to things that it's like, ooh, man, I got to try and figure you out. Once he had it totally figured out, he wanted no more part of them. He was done. But I still believe it's more standoffish between wolves and Bigfoot. And the primary theory may be because of the strength of the pack, there is a threat potential to Bigfoots, and especially young ones, juveniles, that coyotes just don't possess. So I think it's a far more amicable relationship with the coyotes. But wolves, especially something as large as Appa, and then in number, that's a bit more of a potential threat to Bigfoot and vice versa. And, you know, in the lack of really knowing, having good data sets, I think it's probably more their aloof and standoff, where Bigfoot and wolves, where Bigfoot and coyote are much tighter, closer, and maybe there's that quasi-pet aspect that you were just bringing up.
Yeah, well, okay, I want to tell a really quick story. We were on horseback. I think there were 4 or 5 of us. We're on horseback, St. Croix Valley, Minnesota, on the Minnesota side. And we rode through an area that's known for sightings. Everything was fine. Wouldn't see anything, whatever. And then we rode back, and we all started to smell this terrible stink, right? Like rotting. It was horrible. They were covering our mouths. But then up ahead on the trail we had already gone on, there's a coyote laying across this single track trail, this horse trail. And it's clearly alive, but it's laying there paralyzed. And we're thinking, what the heck? And we get off, we look at it, and I can clearly see 2 big handprints on the coyote, like it was grabbed. And it felt like its back was broken, severed. It was yanked apart, its spine. No blood on the coyote at all, other than those 2 crush marks. But then I'm thinking, something had to grab that coyote. It had to be within its proximity, almost like its pet, in order to do that, to intimidate us. And intimidate us it did. I mean, it's very intimidating when something laid that there. It couldn't walk there. It couldn't move. All it could do was blink its eyes. That's it. Completely paralyzed. We had to put it out of its misery. But to have that happen in that short period is coincidence or not? I don't know. Something laid that coyote there. And then another time, real quick, I was up grouse hunting up on the Canadian border, and we had spotted a pack of wolves. And then in the middle of the night, we hear bipedal running, first we hear a pack of wolves running through our camp. And you can hear them panting and just one after another. There's a pretty big pack just driving right through our camp. And we're sleeping in cots. And then all of a sudden I feel the ground start to shake. And I hear bipedal running right after that pack and run right through the middle of our camp. Just boom, 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 boom. Like it was chasing the pack of wolves, following. And so that's kind of a direct, obviously I don't know it was a Bigfoot. And I don't know if Bigfoot broke the back of that coyote, but, figure it out. It's what else can do it?
I'm with that. I think, I don't think that there's any kind of pet relationship with them watching him, it's definitely was a fear of that, maybe they one follows the other just because they know that they're both hunting down prey, so they're probably going after the deer and the elk the same way. And if they are, which they are, they'd be competing with each other. So that usually doesn't work out good for any type animal. I don't think it might be a rare case where a Bigfoot would have a pet wolf or a coyote, but I think it would be some kind of special thing. Like when you see those, what is it, in Africa, you see a lion, getting a gazelle because the mother's lost her cub and they pick up a gazelle or something. Yeah. Maybe something like that, but I think it's just all just flat wild, and they're just going to kill them,
Yeah, who knows? I mean, nature is so complicated. By the way, Jeff, if you want to send David Ellis a join link,
sure.
David has a story if he's willing to join in and tell his dog story. He's got quite a story, it looked like, and Chad was mentioning it. So, okay, so we've talked about this possible symbiotic relationship. And so, Mark, you think maybe more with coyotes than wolves?
Yeah, I would think if there is going to be, just because and that's not from any kind of observation of mine. It's just from
common
watching
sense
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. You hear that, you hear the coyote howls, and then you hear the people that get the recordings of Bigfoot and stuff along with it. But I think it's more of, there you go, Greg.
I haven't got the recordings, but I have been out there plenty of times, and you hear coyotes howling, and you hear Bigfoot responses. In fact, my first Bigfoot encounter ever, the Bigfoot is howling, that classic Bobo, Ohio howl, and the coyotes are responding to it. The coyotes kept responding to it even after we could not hear it with our ears anymore because he'd moved off to the north. But the coyotes in our area were still picking up on it and still responding to it. And then I've had multiple times, and especially right before dawn really breaks, where vocalizations are going off. And honestly, I can't tell, are the coyotes responding to the Bigfoot, or is the Bigfoot responding to the coyote? Because there's just so much going on.
I've heard both.
It was definitely coyotes responding to the Bigfoot.
I've heard both. I've heard wood knocking and then coyotes.
Yeah.
I've heard coyotes and then wood knocks. And I've had chest beating when I've played coyote sounds through one of those game callers.
Okay.
I have one call in 2 locations, coast to coast, across the U.S., where I had chest beating during coyote calls that I played. One of them, the chest beating kept getting closer. We'd wait a while, we'd do it again, and then the chest beating would be even closer, and then we'd wait a while and do it again, and it would be like right on top of us, the chest beating, like right next to us, where people in our group are going, we need to leave now. It gets scary.
The one time I thought I was hearing chest thumping, I start moving towards the sound. I'm moving slowly, and I keep moving, and I keep moving, and then it stops, and I'm trying to locate it again, and I move about another 20 feet, and all of a sudden this rough grouse exploded right out underneath my feet, and of course gave me the heart attack. I wasn't expecting that.
Wow.
But as soon as he left the area, the quote chest thumping sound I was hearing disappeared, and then I realized, I know what he was doing. He was drumming, but he was doing it in a much slower cadence, and it had the effect of sounding like that gorilla chest thumping type activity. Yeah. So that's the only time I heard it, and it turned out to be a grouse.
Well, I've obviously no grouse drumming, and what I heard chest beating my first time up north, and my whole body was shaking. I mean, I could
very interesting,
feel the pounding in my body.
I'll say that's interesting, because if you're thinking, like you mentioned gorilla, Greg, and what do gorillas do that for? I guess from what I hear is it's a kind of a territorial thing, right?
Yeah, intimidation.
So if you're putting out coyote sounds and you're getting this chest thumping moving in, is that's trying to intimidate, I'm guessing, to move those coyotes out, or they're looking at it like you're coming into our area,
or it's a Bigfoot protecting one pack over a different pack. Because coyotes are very territorial with other packs.
So somebody put up the remark about loyalty. It may extend that way. Yeah. They may be very loyal to their one particular pack, and interlopers not allowed.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. It's so fascinating. I used to have the pleasure of working with Jim Brandenburg. He did a lot of wolf research and photography. In fact, he had won a UN award on his wolf photography. Well, I got to know Jim, and Jim invited me to be his producer, and ended up hanging out a lot. He had like parabolic mics out, and we had cameras, and then we'd put a deer carcass out, and we could just watch the wolf behavior and how they interacted with other animals, including ravens and anyhow, it's just fascinating. Wolves, and they definitely have a symbiotic relationship with ravens. I mean, the ravens do the aerial reconnaissance.
Yep.
The wolves go in for a kill, and then they open up the carcass for the ravens and step back and let the ravens feed first.
Yep. That's funny you said that, because I've had a ravens actually land at my house with him outside, and I've seen him jumping on the ground near him, and him laying out there doing nothing. Like,
the ravens will even come up to wolves and pull their tails. They like to tease the wolves, and the wolves completely tolerate it. I've witnessed this stuff firsthand. It's just fascinating.
Yeah, he made no attempt to go after it.
No.
Now, what we're talking about here, I'll take it one step further. Ravens also understand human hunters. And I was blessed to grow up in a family with a lot of Native American ancestry. And I was out with my Uncle Ted, and we're hunting in this area in the Cascades that they essentially grew up in. He knew it. While they were living up there, they actually lived in a construction camp for 2.5 years, and he would roam the woods all around that area. He found a raven chick on the ground, saved it, brought it home, raised it. He taught that raven how to talk human. The raven taught him what ravens were saying. So we're sitting there one morning in elk season, and all of a sudden my uncle gets all excited and he goes, the ravens are talking. And I'm like, oh, and he goes, elk are coming. And they're talking about the elk, but they're also talking about us.
Wow.
And so my uncle said, I'm going to stay up here where I've got a better look. You get down there lower in the saddle, because if they do what I think they're going to do, they're going to come right through that saddle. So I get in position and I look up at him. And at first he keeps doing this signal to me, going, meaning nothing. Then I look up, because now I'm hearing ravens like going crazy right on top of us. And all of a sudden he's doing this at me. That's the signal for a cow. And I'm like, oh, okay, pay more attention. Then the ravens get silent, but I look at him and he's doing this, meaning he's seeing a branch bull elk. So I get ready. The cows start coming through that saddle, through that little opening, and then I look and I can see the antlers moving through the trees, and it's just that wait. Then he steps up, and I get my sights right on him, and I do that. And he stopped and he looked and just kaboom, knocked him right off his feet. So we've got him down. We're skinning him, gutting him, doing all this stuff. We're getting him into quarters, getting ready for the pack out. And I'm looking at my uncle, and now he's doing something interesting. He is taking strips of flesh off the hide, and he starts going and hanging strips of flesh in the trees around where we're doing our activity. And I go, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm leaving a reward for the sentinels, for the lookouts. Because he says, we're going to be gone, the flock's going to come in, but there are always ravens up in the trees watching for danger.
That's
and he says, I'm leaving treats for the lookouts. And that's exactly the way that worked out. And I said, how did you know that? How did you know what the ravens were saying about the elk and about us? And he just looked at me and grinned, and he goes, I know their language. I know what they're saying. I'm like, well, you convinced me, because there's the biggest bull elk I've ever shot in my life on the ground, because he understood exactly what the ravens were saying. What they were saying was they were excited about us, because they go, there's hunters. We're going to get a great meal. Seriously, that's what he told me they were saying.
That's interesting. By the way, David Ellis is in the back room. Let's a couple things. First, we'll bring David on, have him tell his dog story. Then I want to hear about your encounter, Mark.
Okay.
Your sighting.
And I've got some.
Go ahead.
To iterate on that raven. A friend of mine, the Christian Witcherly, that loaned me the thermal imager, he actually got some recordings just like a few days after us. And there's a howl. I'm still going through it. It's 8 hours of recording that he had left sitting there. But one of the things that I had picked up on it was a raven cawing at probably 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning. I'm not sure on the tape, but it was right after a whistle, and then you hear this, So I'm going to try to isolate that out. I've got just one of the things isolated out on my phone. I was going to try to get some of that sent to you guys, but that makes me kind of wonder now. So I'm going to see if I can pull that out and get it to Greg.
It'd be really interesting.
And, because that just made me think of that when he was talking about the ravens.
Well, I know ravens have they have a word for wolf. They have different words. They have complex communication with each other through their white eye flashes.
Mm-hmm.
They have the intelligence, certainly, of a chimp. So they're really smart. But with that, anyhow, let's get David Ellis. Jeff, can get David in here.
Welcome, David.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Heck yes.
Oh, good. Got that new mic.
Always good to have you on the show.
David's got new equipment too.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
You guys are the first.
Yeah, David does more podcasting than probably anybody on the planet, and he didn't have a mic. I'm like,
no.
Really? And you're a sound guy. David, tell us your dog story. By the way, David Ellis is, for anybody that doesn't know, is part of the Olympic Project.
Yeah.
He's from the area that Greg and Mark reside in. And David has I caught the story in chat, but tell us what happened.
Well, before I do that, I want to kind of dovetail off on what Mark was talking about with ravens. Loretta Collins, also a fan of the show, she sends me some audio to look at now and then. And one of the latest ones was this clip of just a ton of wood knocks. Knock, 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 for about 20 minutes or more, maybe even longer. But what I noticed was that I started to hear some songbirds. I'm thinking, oh, it's starting to get daylight there. I didn't have any time frame. But what was interesting was the ravens started in. And when the ravens started in, the wood knocks ceased.
Interesting.
Yep, all done. So I think that just tells you that there's a tattletale situation going on, and that with ravens and Bigfoot. And if you keep your ears open for ravens, I think you should go on alert that something could be happening. Okay, a dog story. I got two, but
I'll tell us both of them.
So there's this area in Grays Harbor, Washington, that I kind of cut my teeth learning how to do investigative work, and we would have things happen there all the time. But on this one particular occasion, I went with my dog Riley, and he was part flat coat retriever and part shepherd. He was a huge boy. He was about 150 pounds. He was nothing to mess around with. Not afraid of anything, but the most affable dog. He liked everything and everybody. But when he jumped out of the car on this specific day when we got there, he went stiff everywhere and arched his back. His hackles went up, and he cut loose with this just ungodly guttural growl that I have never heard him make. And I knew something was going on because he was out of his mind. So,
okay, when you said he went stiff, describe, I mean, legs and everything?
Yeah, his legs. He just, he wasn't going to move anywhere. He was taking in the surroundings. And like I said, his hackles went up. So he was on high alert. So.
And what do you mean his hackles went up?
Well, when your hair goes piloerect, I think is the definition. Correct. So yeah, the back of his.
I just thought maybe dogs had a hackle or something, like a specific organ called a hackle.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
yeah.
So anyway, he was he was not having fun there for a while. I finally got him to move around a little bit and got him to relax, but he stayed right close to me. He wasn't taken off like he usually does to go investigate stuff. He just wanted to be right by me. So
is this one of those really big dogs that you own?
Yes. Yeah, he was huge. He was larger than a German Shepherd.
What type of dog was it?
The DNA test said he was part flat coat retriever and part shepherd. He was the coloring of an Irish setter to make it even more weird.
Well, what do you think caused him to go stiff? Was it the smell that he smelled?
He didn't tell me, so I can only guess.
Well, I know, but I want to hear your guesses.
I think it was a combination of both. I don't think they particularly cared for dogs in this particular spot. I think you know about the story I tell of recording something mimicking somebody calling one of my dogs. Do you remember that story, Doug?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so just to get everybody up to speed on that, this was a different dog, but also a shepherd. We were at this location, my wife, the witness, and myself. We were walking down the road. I had a bionic dish going so I could kind of hear what was going on around me. And I knew that we were being trailed. Something was following us. I could hear it in the brush, walking 2 legs. So I was pretty excited about that. And I think it was July. So it was a hot day. And the dog was panting terribly. I mean, he was running all around. So the witness kind of whispered to me, "You want me to leash him up?" And I said, "Yeah, go ahead." So he called the dog. He goes, "Come here, Kaya." And immediately from the brush, you hear this, "Come here, Kaya." Wow. So and I've got it recorded.
Creepy. I mean, that's as creepy as it gets.
So yeah, calling and how many stories have we all heard about something calling dogs by name?
Yeah, that is weird. Have you heard that, Greg?
I have heard some stories about people swearing they were hearing something out there trying to get the attention of dogs, calling them exactly by name. I don't know. It seemed like more to me the, come here, dog kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily by name, but they were talking about hearing whistles and things like that happening and doing a good mimic of a human, thing that you do when you're calling your dogs.
Right.
So those kind of stories are out there where they're actually vocalizing the name. That's a new one for me.
David, do you recall that? I think her name was Julie, a bear biologist that used to do goat packing and had some, I think they were border collies. Do you know this story?
No.
Oh, okay. I think John Mindzinski mentioned it to me, but she apparently was goat packing. She had her 2 dogs with. It was the end of the day. They set up camp, and her dogs just disappeared. She didn't know where they were. They had never done that. They just gone, and they were gone like for hours. And then apparently a Bigfoot walks into camp with the dogs. And the dogs
These belong to you?
Yeah, the dogs are with the Bigfoot, and the dogs are just like all happy and whatever. And the Bigfoot's staring at one of her goats.
Uh-oh.
And I'm not sure how it ended. I don't remember it all, but it was just an amazing story. And you know how smart border collies are. They're definitely a step up.
Mm-hmm. I used to have one of them.
Yeah.
That's funny. You reminded me, or David did, of a story. The guy that I borrowed his thermal imaging off, his dad knew a gentleman that did hunting dogs, and his dogs got on a scent when it was right here in the same area, and they take off, and he can hear them barking, and now you can hear them like they've got something up a tree, so he's trying to get there, and then all of a sudden he hears them just kind of stop barking, and they come running back. And he said all of them ran back and dove under his truck. And he's like, what the heck? Well, one dog didn't come back. And finally, he's trying to go get to this dog. And finally it had come back, and they all had come back to the truck and just basically dove in there, just shaking like a leaf. And he never did see what it was, but he goes, I've never, ever had those dogs ever, especially the one dog that was the last one. He said that dog's fearless of anything. They treat bears and cougars, and he goes, I don't know what it was, and he did say he heard a sound after that, a kind of a roarish growl, and he was just dumbfounded as to what it was, which, and he wasn't a person that actually even believes in Bigfoot at all. So for him to even entertain that idea was kind of interesting from this guy, and that's the kind of stories too I like to hear for people that are the real skeptics. And I've heard stories like that I'm like, okay, this guy's not I've known some of them for years, these people around here. And when I hear stories like that, it's like, okay, there's definitely, it's not embellishing. There's something to this. And yeah, for him to scare his whole pack of dogs that he's got, his, bear dogs, or and that was a while back. I guess he used to be able to, I don't know a whole lot about the hunting the cougars and bears on that, but I know you used to be able to do that. And then they've changed those laws so much, but yeah, that was an interesting story.
David, do you have any more dog stories?
Yeah, I have one more.
Good, please.
Okay,
Go.
So again, we're going back to this same location where all this other previous things have happened. It's my wife, myself, and another dog that we had, fairly large dog. She was a shepherd for sure. She was full-blown shepherd. Anyway, we get out. I have my bionic dish and my recorder going, just in case. And so as we're walking down this one trail, the dog takes off and goes way ahead. And about 30 seconds later, she comes running back full steam, tail between her legs. I'd never seen that one before. And she got between my legs and wouldn't leave. And I'm going, uh-oh, I think we have company. And I didn't really care because previous experience in this location, we had no aggression shown at all. So we just continued on to a location that we had seen stick structures before. So when we got there, my wife looked at me and said, "Can I try a wood knock?" And I said, "Sure." But before she tried the wood knock, I noticed that my dog was looking down a trail that we had just come down, and she's doing this. And I'm going, what in the world? So I took out my camera and I took a picture. And later, when I reviewed the picture, there was a dark mass back in there. I couldn't really determine what it was, but evidently she couldn't determine what it was either because she was doing this. Anyway, my wife takes a stick and she whacks it on a tree. And we don't get a response other than I can now hear movement and movement coming at my 8 o'clock position to my left, and something coming at my 3 o'clock position on my right, and then something coming at my 12 o'clock position in front. We're being triangulated. Something is moving in on us.
Yep.
And I turned to Terry and I said, "Hey, it's I think we have too much company, and I think they want us to leave." So we hustled out of there. We got to the car. Of course, I put all my recording gear away. Got the dog in the car. Terry's in the car. I get in the car. I'm about to turn the ignition on, and from the opposite side of the road, and that scream goes for about 10 seconds.
Wow.
And Terry looks at me and she goes, "What was that?" And I said, "I think you know." So that was my dog story. We got pretty much
crazy. Have you heard other ones, David, through the years?
Well, with the mimic scenario, I had one witness that had several recordings of something calling their dogs. And one of the situations was her husband had to go do training around the country. And he was in Florida doing a training exercise for his company. And she was home when she recorded something that called their dogs, which were Layla and Bridget. He would call them Layla, Bridget, and Layla, Bridget. That was his cadence. And we got that recorded, but it wasn't done real well. Whatever it was, had trouble with the Bridget. It came out Bridget, not real smooth.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it wasn't just the one recording of calling a dog that I've got. I've got several.
Crazy. Yeah, David, I follow what you're doing through Olympic Project.
Yes.
I talked to Shane.
Chris.
I especially talked to Chris about what I'm hearing and sounds and whatnot. But this was the first time I've had the chance to actually be part of something with you. So this is really cool. So
yeah, it is.
Elevated this. When you're saying they're mimicking the calling for the dogs, because this is a first for me. I have had people say they heard them whistling like they were trying to whistle the dogs up, but actually calling their names
by name.
Is it sounding more guttural and gruff than a human? And like you said, it was having trouble with Bridget. Is that more distinctive?
I don't know if you're familiar with Chris and what he does. He reviews it by sight. I do the same thing.
Right.
So I can tell by the signature that it's not a person.
Okay, perfect. Well, and of course, speaking of what's going on, there's a current Olympic project going. Bart Catino is hoping to come down and get to the spot where Mark and I went, but bring his toys, his high-grade thermals that he has, because now Bart's all excited based on what happened for Mark and I to return to the exact same spot. And hopefully with his better higher-end thermals, we may get a better look at what was out there.
If I would have just been able to record what I seen and go back, because, I'm looking at it at that instant. It's like, okay, what did I just see? If I could just sat there and rewound it, I could have been, okay, that's actually a figure, and especially the one that went from right behind a tree. And I swear, it drives you crazy because it's just a half a second and I'm going like this. And then it's like, oh, there it is. And it was the exact same spot that Greg had seen his eye shine and everything. And if I could have had that recording, whether I understood what it was, I could have rewound that back and then said, okay, it may have seen everything, because when you're in that instant, it's very hard to see what you're seeing. That amorphous blob, though, that I did see was a very weird, like I said, it was not white hot, but there was something there moving, and it really puzzled me because at first I kept thinking, oh, maybe this is some kind of orb that people see, and I'm going, okay, I'm not losing it. Like I said, I kept thinking, okay, it's got to be the little ball on my antenna. Ruled that out right away as I'm doing it. And then later on, I thought about it thinking, okay, it had to be behind a lot of foliage or something there in that area that was keeping that from fully shining through. Is the only thing I could think of it, because it wasn't it wasn't like white specks changing. It was more of a grayish, almost like, just like any of the other foliage, but it was moving. In fact, if I didn't see it wasn't moving, I wouldn't even have noticed it. Kind of, and I hate to say this, but it's kind of like that predator type of thing, where people talk about, the movie Predator. And I didn't want to use that analogy because, but that's really kind of what it was. So I'm just trying to logically think in my head what that could have been, and the only thing I could think of, like I said, it was behind some foliage maybe, but I watched that move for quite a bit. Right.
And the other thing I definitely wanted to mention, I realized I totally forgot, at no point during everything that happened with us, was there anything of reaction from them? They did not throw rocks of any size. They didn't throw pine cones of any size, no sticks, no cracking off limbs. When we heard them, it was definitely bipedal footfall movement as they were coming to get a peek. And part of it is, okay, it's my family group. It's the one I've been around the most. They know me. And I've said before, I'm lucky. My family group, I tend to describe them as peaceful hippie types. They have never done anything hostile at me ever.
You're in Oregon, so
amazing. And again, I don't approach it with a lot of disrespect, beating on trees and screaming and howling and yelling.
Yeah,
they understand I'm a little bit different, and I also don't go and try and provoke them. They're very used to me doing what I'm doing. So the only
including bringing a 165-pound wolf out there.
Yeah, it was Appa. They wanted to see Appa. They wanted to figure out what he was doing with humans. It was driving them crazy.
Yeah, and it really was a, like I said, they make a noise. If without him just fully doing this, I would have never thought of looking on the ridge. I would have never. It actually was probably more unnerving having it happen like this than to have stuff thrown at me. Because at least if I would have had stuff thrown, heard some crunching, heard some things more than what we did, it would have been okay. I know they're here. I'm just going to calm down and be fine. But I didn't know the intention of what was going on, and you could definitely feel surrounded, especially right at the end there.
Yeah, he
was so focused, and when he started doing the backing up and looking, he literally was. I got the impression this thing was kind of right next to Greg, like only maybe 10 foot away, and that was kind of, like I said, very unnerving.
Yeah, and I was fully aware. I could feel it. I knew they were there. I felt it, and I knew they were basically flanking us uphill and even coming from the downhill, peeking, trying to get a better look at all of us, but especially Appa. I guarantee you that's what was going on, because they weren't doing anything hostile. They didn't try and intimidate us. There was no foot stamping. There was nothing. They tried to come in as quietly as they could in ninja mode. And I haven't experienced this. They will do that when they're not entirely certain of what's going on and they're trying to get a better look and get their head around it and figure it out. And man, they can get close to you. And Doug, we talked about my first appearance. I had Big Daddy in the family group come right up behind me in the dark, had no idea it was him coming. It sounded like a rat, something scurrying around behind me, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden it just felt like something enveloped me, and I was like, oh man, something big is right here, right behind me. And then that's when I became aware of what I call the Darth Vader breathing, he's so close. I'm listening to him breathe in and out. And, so yeah, they have approached me very closely in the dark before.
And by the way, Jeff, can you get a hold of Greg privately and find out what energy drink he buys?
Hey, I love this. I'm so happy about what happened. I mean, well, not happy about Appa getting traumatized, but I am so happy about this because when I can go out and do things that nobody else has done before, do something like this, do an experiment like this, and it's just this colossal success beyond what I ever had hoped.
Oh, you're pumped.
You get jacked about it.
I get it. Man.
Well, no, it's cool. I love your passion, Greg.
Absolutely.
I'm just joking.
Love to see it. It's great.
I really do. I mean, you're an ideal guest too, because you are so pumped. Mark, we haven't heard your story from 1985. I believe.
I'll tell you that. Let me just interject on the thing with them coming around us. That when it kicked up and he freaked even further, it was like an alert that, okay, and Greg we talked about this afterwards. I really feel that they felt as soon as the wind kicked that they had a go. Like, okay, they're not going to hear us. These guys aren't going to hear us. Let's just start moving in. He picked it up immediately because he went from high alert to sheer terror. And that's, like I said, that was when I thought, okay, they're right here, you know, but it only happened as soon as that wind kicked, you know, but yeah, anyways, I'll tell you my story on, just out of high school. It was I think it was in 1985. And I had heard lots of stories from around here growing up, rode motorcycles, and heard people talking about all kinds of stuff. We used to have a legend of the Whistler out at this place that we used to ride all the time out by Galease area, and Quartz Creek is what it was called. But I never put too much into that. Well, I went 4-buying. This was just at the start of winter, so it was probably maybe October, November. We had an early snow, I remember that year, and I went up with a friend of mine, and he had a lifted Toyota, and he had this girl that he was seeing at the time, and we went up to have a few beers, you know, and this was a little ways out of town here, and basically your fire road with a cutout, old logging road or whatever, with a turnaround, just like what me and Greg were up. But we turned around, got in the snow. He was on the passenger side, and they were playing in the snow, throwing snowballs, and I'm on the driver's side, and I'm probably about maybe 10, 15 foot from the edge of the embankment. And it went up probably 20, 30 yards, maybe. Might have been a little more than that. It was dark. And behind that, the moon was back behind the mountain edge there. And so I could just see the silhouettes of trees. And I'm sitting there, I'm drinking my beer. And just so you know, wasn't drunk because I just started drinking the beer. So, yeah, I know everybody asked me, "You sure you had too much?" No, you know. And he even said I could pack them away if I need to, but no. But so I'm sitting there, and it's dead quiet too, night, no wind, and I see this little Christmas tree. And that's what it looked like. Just looked like a perfect Christmas tree sitting there, maybe 5 foot tall. And it's moving like this. It's just kind of moving back and forth. And I thought it was kind of odd. I kept saying, what is that? You know, why is this thing moving? There's something up there moving this tree. And, you know, I'm watching it for a while. And it's just kind of, it move, and then it moved back. And it'd move and move back. And so finally, you know, I tell my friend, Bob, at the time, I said, "Hey," I go, "take a look at this," you know. And he comes around and he looks, and I go, "What the heck is that?" And he's, "Well, something must be up there." I go, "Well, there must be a critter." So I get the idea. I'm like, "Well, shit, I'm going to go up and see," you know. And back then I didn't have a fear going. I could just go in the woods at night. I didn't care, you know. And so I finished my beer, and I start to walk over to the embankment, go up, and I didn't get maybe 3 steps, and this tree stood up. It stood up, and mind you, it's just a silhouette. And then it walks off to the side, and I thought, and that for an instant, I thought, who the hell's up here? And right about then, the trees just, it started cracking branches, and it made this warbling, god-awful sound that, Doug, you let me hear one that was similar to it, but it was more of just a you know, and it reverberated through your chest. And at the exact same time, there's branches and saplings breaking, it's coming down like a bear just blows through the trees, you know. So I dive into the driver's side. A friend of mine was already he was inside the passenger side with the girl stuffed down by the floorboards. And I had got in and started this thing up. And mind you, this was a lifted 4x4 Toyota back in the days. That was the popular thing, is get as high as you can. And the 2 or 3 foot, or probably a little more than that actually, but where the truck was, is there was a ditch kind of that went up just before that. Well, I went to started that thing up, and I immediately caught kind of this presence of this thing here. And I didn't want to look. I was kind of more like, when you're a kid watching horror movies and you're just looking through your eyes, and I kind of looked peripheral vision, and I swear I seen almost like the belly chest area of this thing that filled up the window. And it was very dark, so I could only see from the lights of the dash shining through that. But it was enough that, and I hit the throttle on that thing. I literally kind of went into the side ditch as I was driving down. I couldn't say for certain if it slapped the back because something kicked us sideways, and I don't know if that was me. I was so sheer terror panic that it was just, it scared the hell out of me. It was something I never wanted to ever experience again, and but I it took me a while to even go back in the woods after that. And it was really, really freaky. And then since then, I started to tell some people. I actually heard some of the sound very similar on the Sierra Sounds too. That was years later, and I thought, well, that's it right there. That's what I heard, and that's what kind of got me into just looking at this, and then basically telling my story to people. And I worked up the hospital, this health care organization here, for 37 years. And I've had doctors, surgeons, I've had them tell me stuff. They won't tell me right with the group of people. We were sitting at lunch a lot of times, be a group of us. And then afterwards, I'll tell my story. And a lot of people tell me, you're, crazy. You sure you weren't drunk? That's the first thing. And but then sooner or later, the radiologist or the surgeon will sit there and he'll be like, I had this situation happen to me when I was backpacking or something like that. And that's kind of how, like I told Doug, he asked me, Bigfoot researcher, I don't consider myself a Bigfoot researcher. I just kind of I've been around a lot of people that have told me a lot of stories, and now I'm just kind of falling into a lot of this.
Well, how did you meet Mark, Greg?
It started because he sent me a message ahead of the Sportsman show here in Medford, knowing I was doing talks on wolves and Bigfoot. And he goes, "Hey, I've been following you for a while, and I want to bring Appa to beat you, and maybe you can use him." And I'm like, "Sure." So show up. And that started it. And then we struck up a friendship, and it's been kind of interesting, to kind of watch this evolve, because I know he's never been out with somebody like me, who's an investigator who has a lot of experience directly with them. So when I'm telling him, here's what we're going to do, here's what may happen, and then I take him out in the woods, and we're sitting in this place where they could approach us and get to within 10, 20 feet of us, and we may not know they were there. No flashlights, just in the dark. Yeah, it had to be a little unnerving, but I love the fact he bought in on the concept, because I said, I really want to get Appa in there. I want to see how he reacts to them being there, or if wild wolves show up. I did have something on this trip I don't normally take. Well,
let me interrupt you for a minute, Greg. What do you talk about for an hour at a talk about Bigfoot and wolves? What do you cover?
Well, Mark's heard the presentation, and
I know,
honestly,
but
I have to cut myself off because I could keep going.
Jeff, turn his camera off. And
You know, I got to add something to Greg Steele. I actually met him before that, Greg.
That's right. Okay.
Yep. In Cave Junction at the meet, and I might have even seen you before over at the expo one time, probably years before.
Okay.
I went out to Greg had a talk out in Cave Junction.
Yeah, it was Scott Vollett from Squatch America.
There you go. But you were there
on that one. Yeah.
There you go. And I had a lot of you know what, people tell me stuff out there. I actually had my own brother that worked for UPS says he's seen one driving out there, drove down the road, turns the corner down and he used to have one of those routes he had like 3 packages, the whole day, but they were so far out that's why he did it. But he drove down the road, seen this figure sitting down the road a quarter mile. He's like, what the heck is that guy doing out here all in black? And the guy just goes up the side of the mountain and he's like, oh crap, so had him tell me that. I've had a lot of people in that actually area tell me in that area, and I actually got asked to go out to there with another friend of mine. Hey, let's go check this out. And that's when I see Greg the first time. And then, like I said, I've been just falling into this too. I have 8 hours of recording from a friend that I've got to go through, and I've already found a lot of whistles and howls, or not howls, but stuff that's definitely not, anything else. But
and by the way, Mark, you may want to kick that through Dave, because Dave is one of the best on analyzing the sound. So for sure, we got the right guy in the right place at the right time.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me interrupt. Kenny Hess had a question, or actually a comment. He's like,
back of the truck.
Would you be willing to ride around with Appa in the back of a truck on old forest roads? Then Appa could alert you for other good areas to do research.
You know what? I could probably do that. He actually don't even need to be in the back of a truck. He was sitting right out of the van with the windows down. He immediately knew just before Greg even stopped there was something. I could just tell when I watch him. I know, okay, that's a deer. That's something that he knows. But when it's something he doesn't know, it's
David. David, would you even be willing to take one of your giant horse dogs? I think what are they, Great Danes?
Well, actually, we've lost Rex, so we're without dogs at this point.
You don't have any dogs.
No,
well, David had a
puppy in the springtime.
Yeah, he had a beautiful, oh my God, giant
Mastiff.
dog. I'd be on the phone with David and Rex would bark and I'd be like, is that a dinosaur? What do you got going on there?
To answer something I was asked about, riding around looking for spots. Here's the thing. One of the mistakes I think people make are chasing encounters or wandering around. I've hit the jackpot. I know exactly where I need to be from the end of July to the beginning of October, because I know my family group is there. The other reason for the jackpot, not just the presence of them being there, they know me. They know who I am. We have a relationship of trust. Remember, Big Daddy stood right behind me.
Greg, you're feeding them energy drinks.
I agree with him on that.
You're giving them Squatch juice.
They pump me up because I really understand. I watch so much video. I've watched so many TV shows. I've watched all these things that people are killing themselves to do. And I watch so much of it and go, no, wrong. You've got to go to the area they're going to be at. Let them get to know you and do it.
Yeah, let them come to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree, because I know of another area that Greg knows too, and it's and it's not something that I've found or anything. It's actually elk hunters that have told me, and for actually years now, and it's been very consistent. So it's like, I don't think, I think it's, you find an area. I mean, you might be able to take your dog around and find an area, but if you've got some place that that's the key, is listening to maybe some reports. I would imagine if you don't know of an area, but other than that, once you find that area, they're not going to go away. I mean, I don't know how long Greg's been in that area, but I know this other area that there's people, it's right in an area where they go elk hunting, and just before elk hunting and deer season and stuff, there's been consistent every year now at this time of year, July, August, they've gotten, wood knocks and howls and whoops and everything.
Have you guys ever tried doing like a wood knock at your own home? If you live in the forest or near the woods, have you ever tried doing that right at your homestead?
To try and attract attention from them? No. But if I get knocked out, I will do a reply knock if I'm able to, or if I'm not, listening to them communicate among themselves. They have a 3-1 pattern in virtually everything that repeats over and over again. The vocalizations, especially in the whoops, the knocks, the rock knocks. The whoops, it goes more like this. And then you get the reply from another point. So when I get tree knocked,
hold on, Greg. Sorry. Hold on, Greg. David, is that something you've kind of found true too?
Patterns, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And one of the things that just kind of cropped up with Chris Reinhardt recently and others is it kind of reminded me of my very first recording in this one location of a wood knock and a howl, a short howl afterwards. Mm-hmm. So it's a knock and a howl, and then you wait and you get another knock. And so, yeah, we've had patterns happen before where they would answer us in the same, you do 2, they do 2, you do 3, they do 3, kind of a thing. So I've had that happen before.
So, and like I said, more commonly for me, if they tree knock at me and I can't respond with a knock, I definitely do the back at them. And that's kind of the, hey, hello, yeah, I'm here. And everything moves on as it moves on. But to go out and howl and tree knock and try and provoke an encounter with them that way, I quit doing that in 2014 because I realized that actually didn't work. I found more effective ways to make it happen.
So Greg, are you ever in any kind of fear mode? Have you ever been surprised where you just, you're uneasy because you don't really know what these things are? Do you ever feel afraid? How about you, Mark? Ever?
Hell yeah.
Okay, yeah. Mark's like, hell yeah.
Yeah, there's no question on that. I mean, this, the first time I had something happen, and this time for sure, it's very unnerving, especially in the back of your mind. Like with me, I'm trying to rule out everything this whole time. I'm really trying to rule out everything. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna fall into this, and I'm thinking, okay, is it a bear? And I'm like, well, bears don't split up and start circling and trying to encircle you, and neither do a pack of wolves might. But that, I know Appa would have responded different, and they wouldn't have done like that. We would have hurt them. So, that leaves the only thing is that, which is whether you believe it's a 800-pound Neanderthal man or an 800-pound gorilla. It's a primate that can tear you to shreds, and there was only 3 of us up there, and I did have my pistol, but I didn't even think about that. I had my 9mm, and it would have been like a BB gun, I imagine.
Yeah.
It just, yeah.
No, it's the whole Gene Wilder thing from Blazing Saddles. No, don't shoot them. You'll only make them mad.
Exactly. You know, Greg's, you know, he's been in his area enough time that he's comfortable up there. I could actually see Greg was getting very, you know, you think that he had an energy drink now up there. He was a little antsy. It was not.
I would not want to see Greg antsy.
Yeah, I mean, he was keeping it together. I was trying to keep it together for him, but it was very unnerving. You know, like he said, he made a statement that these Bigfoots are sitting up here wondering what these three guys are doing with a wolf.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what are these three guys and a wolf doing up here without a 50 cal? You know?
That's a good one, Mark. Good one.
Yeah. To answer your question,
That's a
yes,
funny
there were
statement.
2 times that I wouldn't call it being terrified, but there were 2 times where I was just kind of, oh, wow, what's going to happen here? The very first time, seeing one, especially because that is such an awesome moment, and you're like, oh man, I knew they were big. I had no idea how big. And then the second time, though, was definitely when Big Daddy walked up behind me in the dark, and he is so close to me, and I was like, don't even do anything that he might take as a challenge. Just sit here, face forward. Don't try and look at him. I just kept talking to him going, you know me. I'm no threat to nothing. I'm just going to sit here, listen to what you guys are doing. I'm just going to be this bump on the log.
You were that little dog at the weekend at the
brewery. And he stood there and watched me for what had to be at least 10, 15 minutes. And then he realized I'm just going to keep sitting there. So he takes off. He heads down the mountain. I hear him head down the mountain, and I pivot on the log, and I look down in the darkness, and I went, thank you. And I meant it, because if there's any truth to some of what I see offered as theories for people disappearing, we wouldn't all be together right now, because he was right there and one snap, and I'm done. And
I got to say something on that. So I mentioned that thing about the little dog. Well, when I took Appa to meet Greg at the show, we were just overwhelmed with people wanting to take pictures and everything. Mm-hmm. And so Greg didn't get to see him that well, you know. Yeah, and that's not even really a good picture there. And Greg's a big guy, by the way. So anyways, I told him, I said, hey, I'll meet you at I actually had to take my wife over to Medford to the airport. And I said, hey, I'll take him with me. And is there any brewery or any place that allows dogs? And he said, sure. So he told me Walkabout Brewery. Mm-hmm. So I ended up meeting him there, brought Appa in there. And so immediately Appa lays down at his feet and stuff. And, well, I got to take him to go pee. So I take him, and there's a bunch of other dogs there. And so he wants to go see them, and he walks up to them. And, of course, you know, these little dogs, they're just like, oh, shit, you know. And Greg had mentioned that on one of his deals on his Facebook post. And he was just like, okay, you're the boss, you know. And that just kind of reminded me of when you were talking about that.
Say, Mark, I think Appa's up. Why don't you?
He actually is up and gone. I think we got a Amazon delivery, and the other dog was barking like crazy. So
Well, I'm just saying, why don't you put your headphones down and go get him?
Let me try to do that. Yeah.
It was funny because Appa got up, got behind him, and if you know how tall Mark is, and you look at the size of his head, you got a sense of how big Appa truly was with Mark's head and Appa's body moving by in the background, because he is a very big boy. He's got that big frame. And again, the only way I can tell looking at him that he's not 100% wolf is those shorter length legs, and he's got doggy ears for sure. But take those two things away, and somebody sees him in the woods and describes that to me, I'd go, congratulations, you saw a wolf.
Yeah. So
beautiful animal.
Yeah, it's hard to tell too because you get pictures of him that look. Come on, get up here.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, beautiful animal.
Oh.
He is. The other thing is, for as high percentage as he is the mellowest high percentage I've ever seen. He is great in public settings, and it blows my mind.
That's him sitting on the couch. So it's very, you see back there. I don't know what it is with this camera though, but it doesn't look very big back there. That's okay. It's okay, D. So,
there we go. It's a good image right now.
There you go. Yeah, see now he gets his ears. He'll look like a dog sometimes, and then
there you go. Op almost took your wife's hand off. Nice.
Yeah, there's another one there of him.
Oh my!
Wow, what a beautiful animal.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Anyhow,
yeah.
Thank you. Thanks,
Okay.
Mark. David.
Yes.
Do you know of any other animal reaction stuff? I mean, there's got to be stuff you've heard, stories of. I mean, you talk to more people and more witnesses than like anybody.
Not right off the top of my head. I probably should have been thinking about that while I was.
Well, I could have warned you. Couldn't I have? I could have done that, but I didn't. That was funny too, because I'm like, yeah, David, you should come on tonight. He's like, well, give me another, because he just got a bunch of new equipment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, give me another week. And I'm thinking, oh, I said, sure, that'd be fine. And then I do this to him.
Yeah.
I got you anyhow.
Blindsided. Yeah, I'm used
Sorry,
to
David.
it. That's all right. It worked. That's an amazing part.
Yeah. So, but what do you think of the technique of bringing an animal out, like a wolf, and getting the reaction? Because I don't even know if you heard the story of what happened.
Well, the only thing I'm not sure about is if they are doing infrasound.
That
it's a speculation scenario, and what would that physically do? Does it physically do something to the dog? That would be.
That's exactly what I was wondering.
Yeah, that would be my only concern. That and Appa's response seems to be like, I'm ready to go when you guys are ready to go.
Would you be willing to go with them to the spot?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Oh, Dave, I'd love to have you come. Like I said, Bart Catino, we're looking at next Tuesday night for Bart to be able to stop on his way back home from being up with the OP. But anytime, door is wide open for you. The best time to be here in this area to have contact, though, end of July to beginning of October. And if we can squeeze you in anywhere within that window,
I
know exactly where they're at and where they're coming through and why.
Sure.
So that's the beautiful part. And that's also why, it's kind of fun to be able to say, no, I don't have to go looking to find territory. I know exactly where I need to be because they're going to be there because of these reasons.
Well, you're using the techniques that I pretty much did. I didn't chase stories. When I got a good story, I stuck with the witness, and we started working together over time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got 4 and 5 years in with different witnesses. Some of them were at their home, and it just becomes too much after a while.
Yeah.
Because as I would tell witnesses before we would start a project, I get to be the one that gets in my car and leaves. You get to stay here.
Yeah.
And so, things might start happening around the house that you're not, it's all fun and games in the beginning, but then it gets to be a little much after a couple of years. So
right. Exactly.
Yeah. Doug said that about, do you live in the woods? I'm not sure, Greg, I think you live more in town, right? And
yeah,
I live out. It's rural. I mean, I can literally take a bike ride up to the hill, and I'm on the other side of the Oregon caves here, where that psychologist had seen.
Yep.
And so, I've got enough houses around here that I don't think there would be, but I've had a cougar in the backyard. Actually, I've got pictures. I have to find it on my phone. He got shredded by a cougar right next door. My brother used to live right next door here. He moved back to Arkansas, but I would take him over there, and I'd let them go, and he'd run down to the creek and just check it out. Well, 11 a.m., I had let him out with my other dog, and thank God my other dog, Gracie, she's, a third of his weight. She's only 65 pounds. And she went another way, and he went straight down to the creek, and I heard a commotion, and I couldn't tell what it was because my brother was working on a diesel truck, and I headed down there because I'm like, okay, he better not be messing with the neighbor's cat or geese or something. He never would do anything to them. He just wanted to go see what they were. Well, he comes back up and he's got blood all over him. And I'm like, what the hell happened? I thought a bear had got him, and it looked like Wolverine, tore him up, 50 plus stitches. And they found a sheath in him. They said it was a young cougar, and I believe it was bedded down off this little ridge shelf or whatever you want to call it, right next to the deer trail. So it was just sitting there waiting for deer to come down the creek. And and he just, all hell broke loose. And even at his weight, he was lucky to do that. So as a result, we get stuff coming up and down the creek from the mountain up above. And I don't think I'd want to have that, like you were just saying, David, is that's not something you'd want to have to live with, just having that in the back of your mind all the time that, okay, is there something when I go out in that night, do I have to worry about my cats, or do I have to worry about my dogs, or just worry about my sanity, So I don't think I'd even want to try to do anything here. There is some spots that are very close to my house, though, that, like I said, I've rode my motorcycle from here right to the Oregon Caves, and I could get there very, very quickly because it's right over the top of the hill from me.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you lived in the woods, or
Yeah,
a lot of people don't do research at their own home.
Yeah,
and I don't blame them. Anyhow, we got to wrap this up. We're gonna run, give you all some wisdom, and then we're gonna be right back. So just hang on, guys.
Wait a minute.
What?
I got one question.
Oh, keep talking for a minute. I had.
Are you okay?
Gosh, epic fail from the Big Ragu.
I got a question about that. Why are you called a Big Ragu?
Because I'm a big Italian meatball.
Okay.
The name gives.
I like spaghetti. I like Italian food. So I kind of figured that was it. But
Jeff cooks mean. He cooks a mean spaghetti too.
Okay.
All right. Give me a minute here. I had it, and I don't know what the heck happened to it.
I'm gonna need a recipe.
But I'll give me just a minute here, and I'll have it ready. Not less than a minute here.
I always tell David, because I know David lives in a pretty remote area. I mean, you have neighbors, but you still live in a very remote area. It's like, why don't you do some research on your own damn property? A lot of people don't think of that.
Oh, I do. It's good for others, and it's just not good for David.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Greg told me, didn't you tell me there was a print that you guys had found not too far from me on the other side of the hill by the fire station or something?
Mm-hmm.
The Applegate, which is literally, I could take my bicycle over there. That kind of unnerved me a little bit because
in the wintertime, Grants Pass, Bigfoots will come in the wintertime almost literally within town. And what he's talking about, there's a road called New Hope Road in Grants Pass, and it doesn't matter what site you look at that documents Bigfoot encounters. New Hope Road in the winter, even to this day, Bigfoot reports come in off that road. One of the best ones that I heard was I was doing the Bigfoot talk. This lady shows up. They live on New Hope Road. She's talking about her son and his friends running around out in the dark and playing tag, and they have like the little laser tag things. Well, he goes running through the woods. All of a sudden, he sees something take off running away from him that he thinks is one of the guys on the other team, and he starts shooting at it, and he starts running faster, shooting the laser, that is. And that thing picks up speed and is pulling away from him, and then he stops and he goes, nobody runs that fast. And then he found out everybody else was closer to the house. He was out there by himself, and he told me himself, there was a Bigfoot there watching us playing, and then I saw it, and I'm chasing a Bigfoot without even realizing at first that's what I'm chasing. That happened on New Hope Road, literally right there on the boundary of the Grants Pass city limits.
And that's in further than me. And
Yeah.
there's stories in the middle of town. There's Dollar Mountain. I think I told you the story of my brother's friend motorcycle riding. We used to ride up the Granite Pits, and they came back to the truck, loaded up his bike, just realized that the rear fender or side plate or something had fell off his bike. It was a friend of my brother's. He decided, I'm going to walk back up the road because it had to fell off between here and the pits, and walked up, found his fender, came back and said he was met in the road by a Bigfoot, and literally, and then he had ran the opposite way and had to run all the way to the highway I-5, which is the other side of it. And if you look at Grants Pass, there's Dollar Mountain with Starlight, and there's houses all around that whole area. But we used to ride there when we were kids like crazy. And
well, all they need is 20 feet of woods to get back into the forest.
Yeah.
You know, they love the edges.
That's probably the closest, craziest story I've heard. And the guy that told it didn't tell it to my brother. My brother had to pick him up and said, what the hell are you doing here? And left your truck there. And he told him the story. And it was just very, very strange. And there's other ones like that too. We've had county commissioner. I won't say who it is, but we've had one here that swears up in a Granite Hill, which is just right here out of town. He won't go there, and that's kind of toward the area where I had my encounter years and years ago. You know, and
and I'll tell you what, I am so blessed because I'm so into this. And it does not matter where you go in Jackson and Josephine County, you are just literally a couple of minutes away from being where the Bigfoot could be. And you look at the report and the sighting history, that backs that up. But like I said, you know, my encounter zone, and that's what I call it now, my encounter zone is an hour drive out of Medford to the northeast in the Cascades. And it took some homework to figure this spot out. And again, a big tip of the hat to Matt Moneymaker, because if I hadn't heard him say at the BFRO expedition in 2008, just south of Cave Junction at the Oregon Caves area, if I hadn't heard him say what he did, I might have never known exactly what I should be looking for. But when he described it, I started thinking and going, I know places like that. And I started checking them out until I hit pay dirt. And now my wife is down here sitting right next to me. Our first date, I found the best Bigfoot track I have ever found. And it was right next to the road. And it was our first date out in the woods. And now here we are nearly 18 years later. And I've never been with a human more in my life. I say we're Bigfoot blessed because we found that track.
Greg, you're blessed because you have a lifetime supply of energy drinks.
Well, it's just me being me, and I get so happy and pumped up about the subject. I love it.
We'll get you. We'll get you back. We'll get you back on.
Yeah, it's great to have you on, man.
You guys were awesome.
Most guys out trying to do this.
All right.
I like hanging around him. It gets me all pumped up too.
Oh my God! Okay, guys, settle down. Okay, we're just hang tight, guys.
Yep, right back.
It's now time for Untold Radio AM Wisdom of the Week. This week, instead of asking, "What if I fail?" try asking, "What if this is the step that changes everything?" Because real progress doesn't come from waiting for fear to vanish. It comes from acting, even with shaky hands and a racing heart. Good night. We hope to see you all next week. If you like the show tonight, please consider giving us a thumbs up, leaving a nice comment, and most of all, subscribing and hitting the bell so you will be notified when a new episode is dropping. Also, please share this episode. Now back to Doug and Jeff for our wrap.
All right.
We are back. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Mark. You guys were awesome guests. Thank you, David.
Well, thank you for having me jump in. Sorry, guys.
Yanking you out of your bathrobe or whatever I did. Coming on and sharing your great stories. We really appreciate it. We'll be back.
Hey, David, I'm delighted you came in and reach out. You've got the invitation to come with me anytime that you want.
We'll figure something out.
David, he's all yours. He's all yours.
Yeah, I'd like to meet him in real life. I'd like to meet him.
He's the best.
Especially if you're in this area, David. So,
anyhow, but thanks again, Greg and Mark and
thank you,
David, and thanks, Jeff. And we will see you all here next week, same time, same channel.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Call you up in the middle of the night, been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will always know where we belong. This ain't no ordinary love we got going on. I'll pick you up in my 59 Ford. We head on down the road until we get bored. Just you and me and the sun and the wind. If the rain should start falling, we'll head home again. Everybody else can see where we belong. Oh, ain't no ordinary love we got going on. At the end of the world, together forever is one, and I'll wait if ever you should be in doubt.